something's different.
I am changing.
I don't know if I like who I'm becoming.
Boyd, there are a lot of people wanting to know what happened down there.
Where's Dad? Why isn't he back yet?
Tabitha.
We need to talk.
It means everything they show us is real. I think they're doing it to make us afraid.
Well, then it worked. There is something ancient here. And it's feeding off our suffering, and it doesn't stop.
We're losing. We're running out of time, and we still don't know the goddamn rules. There is no way to fight back against those things. Everything we've done, every sacrifice we've made, none of us are going anywhere.
You think you're some kind of hero? You're a monster.
Lord, please protect us in this dark place where evil roams so freely. This we ask in your name. Amen.
One way or another, the truth always comes out.
I would make sure it doesn't.
And welcome one, welcome all to the Thursday night edition of the Fromville Hour. And welcome one, welcome all. Here we are, folks, midway through season 4. It's pretty crazy. I can't believe we're already halfway through the season. It does feel like it kind of flew by pretty fast. So maybe having this week break in between episodes 5 and 6 won't all be bad. Maybe it won't be the worst thing in the world, having an extra week of From to kind of gather our senses while we dive into the second half of the season, which I am hoping that the second half of the season is going to be a little bit darker than the first half of the season 1. That was one thing I was expecting season 4 to be right out the gate, was be a little bit of a darker season than what we've seen before, with the intensity getting kind of ramped up. And I'm hoping that's the feeling that we're going to get for the second half of the season. But yeah, here we are, folks, midway through midway through season 4. And tonight we are going to talk about the first half of the season, the first 5 episodes, where what we liked, what we didn't like, what we're looking forward to in the second half of the season, and everything in between. And of course, we want to hear from you guys in the chat throughout the night. What have you guys liked about season 4 so far? What have you guys not liked about season 4 so far? And what storylines are you looking forward to the most heading into episode 6 and beyond? Almost like a mid-season review, I suppose this stream could be. Our mid-season review.
Yeah, it seems that way. And I wonder, is the Indy 500 really going to peel away too much viewership from? I mean, is there a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram? Maybe not. I know for a lot of our overseas audience, they don't really understand what the significance of it is. And I think more than, it's Memorial Day. Yeah. But realistically, what it stands for is, even in the northern climates, this is really the first summer holiday. So people get together, they cook out and do
stuff like that. Yeah. Weather's just starting to get warm, especially up in the north. Yeah.
And it's one of the few ones where it's one of the federal holidays where banks are closed, post offices are closed, most federal courts and stuff are closed. So a lot of people will have, a lot of people won't have the day off, but a lot of, it just like, anything else, Christmas, Thanksgiving, retail people will probably, everybody will be running out to Home Depot to get some mulch or whatever to catch up on stuff. but it does
Mhm.
signify a good holiday where people will set aside. It's almost like it bookends summer with Memorial Day starts the summer and Labor Day kind of ends
It's
it.
like the unofficial start and the unofficial end, kind of. Yeah, you're right.
That's
Absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, and it'll be nice. I mean, having the week off will be nice, honestly, because
Yeah.
it does really let us jump into episode 6 with a lot of vigor and enthusiasm for what's to come. And I agree with your assessment. I thought there would be more that happened, but we've seen that. I mean, we've seen it within an episode, and then we've seen it with the seasons, how they pace things. And I'm real comfortable with how they do it within the episodes. You'll get a scene or two with the whatever character pairings that they're going to deal with that episode. So it's not, I wouldn't even call it just like a compulsory roll call, but you'll see, okay, this is going to be Boyd and Donna. Okay, this is going to be Kenny and whoever, and this is going to be
Yeah.
whoever, and you'll know, and they'll have a scene and they'll do this or that, and they may say something of significance or they may not, but but if you stop the episode at 22 minutes in, you'll be like, not a damn thing has happened. It's just people talking. Then they uncork it. Then they do tend to readdress that character pairing. Whatever is going to happen usually happens in the back half, leading up to a cliffhanger or a reveal or something.
Yeah.
And I'm real comfortable with that. I mean, I dig it. I'm down for it. I enjoy that. So it doesn't bother me at all. But that's exactly how that's how I'm watching it. And I'm seeing it repeat itself, and it looks like that's just how they like to
Their
structure
format.
their episodes.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, they have been kind of sticking to a very specific format for a lot of their seasons. And we even talked about that a little bit towards the beginning of the season, how usually episode 1 and 2 are always pretty good coming right out of the gate. Said, they want to start the season off on a high note with a big reveal or a big scene, whether it's the death of Tien Chen or the discovery of Jim's body, stuff like that. So the first 2 episodes are always pretty high intense. And then you get to episode 3 and 4, and that's usually when they kind of take a little bit of a step back. Not a step back, but, and again, I don't think we've got any really quote unquote filler episodes. Some episodes are a little slower than others, yes, but I think even in the slower episodes, we're getting good character development and we're getting good world building, and the plot is still at least moving somewhat. But yeah, you tend to see that similar format where the first episode or the first 2 episodes will start off with kind of a big bang, then we'll get some setup, and then we'll get back into it right when we get kind of midway into the season as well. And I think that's where we're heading now. I mean, usually, historically, when you look at usually episode 5, 6, 7, those midway episodes are usually when some pretty big things happen. Season 1, we got to the Colony House massacre right around then. Season 2, we got the death of Smiley right around then. So usually we get something pretty nice towards midway through the season. And I suppose we did get some pretty interesting things in episode 5 this season in terms of some interesting reveals, some big reveals. I mean, they might have been theories that we've been discussing and talking on for a very long time. So it might have been stuff we kind of knew was coming to a certain degree, but it's still nice to get the definitive confirmation on some things, especially where Jade's character is concerned. But no, I am hoping that there's going to be something pretty big happening in episode 6 or 7. I really, really am hoping that.
Yeah. They really push forward as far as the main plot line. There's the little answers, the little plot lines, the little reveals that they sprinkle throughout, and those are always nice. But this one, they did kind of move forward with leaps and bounds. Now,
They did give us some good info. They did.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why I don't take mushrooms, because I was so frustrated. It reminded that little kid reminded me of every ex I've ever had. There's like what is going on? What's wrong here? You know what's wrong. I really don't. I'm asking you. The answer is already in your mind. Well, no, it isn't in my mind. That's why I'm asking. I get a little, but of course they're keeping the mystery up or whatever. So
I liked it because I feel like it wasn't too mysterious. I guess when I look at young Jade, I kind of instantly compare him to the boy in white, where he's like a version of the boy in white that actually gives you answers. because he's very mysterious, very kind of cryptic, like the boy in white. But at the end of the day, by the end of that episode, he had given Jade some pretty definitive, concrete answers as to who he is, his previous lives, how all of his previous lives died, how he is probably going to die if he's not able to stop at this cycle. So I feel like the younger version of Jade very much gave me the boy in white vibes, but only a version of the boy in white that actually gave fucking answers for a change. Because yes, I mean, it was one of those things where it was a little bit more of a journey of kind of self-discovery, where the answers were inside Jade the whole time. He just kind of needed help pulling them out from these mushrooms and from this kind of spirit avatar of his younger self. But yeah, I don't know. It was just refreshing to have a character similar to the boy in white actually giving definitive answers for once, instead of only being incredibly cryptic and then just disappearing.
Yeah. Well, if Jade hadn't flat out said, oh, all these people were murdered by the townsfolk, I was like, oh, okay. I hadn't made that jump. I mean, it was pretty obvious that, yeah. I mean, I guess you would get around to that.
I think the hint there was minnows in a shark net. And again, yeah, they did kind of spell it out for us as the audience, but I do think that a lot of us would have come to a similar conclusion that all of these Jades weren't killed by monsters. They were killed by humans, which indicates that they were probably killed by the townsfolk. But yeah, I think the minnows in the shark's net was a very indicative of Jade finding out how all of his previous lives have really died. Like, the townsfolk are the minnows. They are the minnows getting stuck in the shark's net, which is Fromville, a shark's net that is meant for Jade and Tabitha. But they're getting pulled in along the way. And I think that's how Sophia is very much going to drive the town against Jade and Tabitha. If Sophia can convince the whole town that they're the reason you're here, they are the reason all of you got stuck here. If we kill them, all of us will be able to go home. If she's able to drive that kind of wedge in between the town, if she's able to kind of galvanize the town towards that direction, I wouldn't see it being too hard. I mean, the town's already being pushed to their freaking brink. They're already on the verge of just losing it. I don't think it would take much manipulation to galvanize these at least the extras. I don't see people like Kenny and Boyd and the main characters. I don't see them ever turning on Jade or Tabitha. But I think that's why we still have so many extras on the show. And PM and I were talking about this on our last stream. We were wondering why are there still so many extras? Like, we heard in this season specifically, there's 47 people in town. Well, technically 46 after Jim's death. Although if you count Sophia, back to 47 again. But why tell us that? Why give us that information unless it's for a reason? And I feel like that was the beginning of setting up that later on, when the town does turn on Jade and Tabitha, it's not going to be our characters, because that would be incredibly out of character for Jade or Kenny, for Boyd or Kenny or someone like that to just turn on Jade and Tabitha. I don't see that happening, but I do see her being able to kind of galvanize the NPCs of Fromville, the Roger NPCs out there. There's tons of other Rogers out there for her to manipulate.
Right.
So I think that's probably how it's going to go down. When it does come time to the town turning against them, it'll be Sophia kind of at the forefront of it, getting all of these other NPCs against Jade and Tabitha. Because I just don't see the main characters trying to harm Jade or Tabitha.
But we already saw that, they already floated that idea with the riot in the towards the diner when they rioted towards Tianjin to get food. So
all the extras, it was Roger. Literally, Roger.
Yeah, literally, Roger.
Fucking Roger was leading the charge there. That fucker.
I don't even think he had a name at that time, though. That's what I mean. That was why I wasn't all that satisfied with Roger getting killed in this episode, because the dude had a name for one episode. It's like any of the other ones that just, like Brenda or whatever her name was. If you get a name and you're not a main character, you're
probably gonna die pretty soon. Yeah. It's probably gonna happen. And with Roger dead now, 45 people, and again, this as Brandon brings up a good question. With Roger dead, does that mean somebody new is going to come to town now? Because that has been a theory that a lot of people have had, for a very long time, from the very beginning of the show. A lot of people have been noticing that when a character in Fromville dies, another character kind of shows up and takes their place. We've seen this happen consistently from the very beginning of the show. So yeah, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people believe that when one dies, another one comes in. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're so late in the game. I feel like we're at the very end of the story. There's only 15 episodes left. Is there time to bring another character onto the show, to write another character into the show when you already have all of these other storylines you need to wrap up? Is there even time for that? I don't know.
Even if they're just a red shirt, they have to appear at least. That's a question. I've been floating that in Discord a little bit, and ever since they started pounding in episode 1, when Boyd was counting out the bullets and Kenny triple reconfirmed 47. There's 47 people here. I for some reason that one stuck in my brain so much. It didn't really occur to me. It just seems so. They emphasize it so many times in a short amount of time that I thought, oh, there's got to be some significance there. And I thought maybe they'll do a roll call, maybe they'll do an all hands town meeting or something, and maybe Kenny will be out there, in the background counting out the number of people and noticing that 2 people arrived and that was before they knew about Jim being missing. When Kenny because Kenny's last census was when he was interviewing people regarding the death of Billy.
So Jim was alive at that point.
Yeah. So I thought something about the arrival of Sophia and the priest, then the death of the priest. There's going to be some aspect of the count that isn't correct. They'll either be one person short, or they'll be at 48, and or they'll be at 47 like now, and then somebody new will arrive to keep. But there's been no mention of among the townsfolk, at least, and like the fans have been counting 47, and we kind of got the 47 confirmed. Taking Kenny's at his word, we take that as canon now. But there's been no indication by any of the characters in the show that they're noticing any equilibrium. Like, I mean, they notice that there's the massacre and then a bus arrives.
It's not like they're noticing, hey, it's awful strange that as soon as someone dies here, a new person arrives. Like, we haven't exactly heard the characters acknowledge that yet. They haven't really talked about, is it just a coincidence that when someone dies here, another person arrives? Maybe it's something they haven't noticed, or maybe it's just something they haven't talked about yet. But I mean, we as the audience, a lot of people in the audience are noticing it. Which again is why it has probably become such a popular fan theory up until this point. But I mean, you would have thought by now that the characters in town would have at least started to question it, right? I mean, especially the ones that have been there for a very long time.
Yeah, with a bus. I mean, you could see 1 or 2, maybe 1 or 2 arrivals, 1 or 2 deaths. Okay, fine. But when there's literally a colony house massacre, one of them,
and then a whole bus showing up to fucking replace everyone that just died in the massacre, it's like, that's not a little sus to you.
Right. You gotta kind of notice that.
Oh, and that's right. Team it brings up a good point. The 47 was after Tilly's death. So meaning there were 48 before Tilly died. Can you make sense of that? Maybe theories about her being the man in yellow are real. I mean, who knows? Maybe. I mean, again, when I see this 47 number, we've seen 4s and 7s all over the show from the very beginning. And at first, I wasn't really too convinced that it was going to have any kind of deep narrative meaning, considering the connection that these 4s and 7s have to Stephen King. I thought they were probably just a wink and a nod to Stephen King, because we know that Jack Bender and Stephen King are like best friends. The director of From and Stephen King are like best friends. So I thought all these 4s and 7s and these 47s were just kind of like him giving a little wink and a nod to his friend and to one of his mentors. But no, I mean, you start to see it kind of come into the actual narrative now, where they're actually talking about, no, there are 47 people exactly in town, or at least there were. You start to wonder if there is something a little bit more to the 4s and 7s, if it's going to have a more significant meaning. I don't know. Does there always have to be 47 people in Fromville, or again, 48 as Tem Manwich, as Tem Wanch. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names, but no, again, I'm not too sure if there is, any correlation to it. Like, is it just a coincidence at the end of the day that people are arriving just as people die? Or is there something a little more to it? Again, I'm still not sure when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, there was also that really crazy cryptic statement on, I think it was on the official Twitter account, right? They were talking about how Sophia was affecting somebody, and they said, so how did Sophia affect Sarah from so far away when she was hearing the voices when she was working in the diner? And the official From account said, who says she was so far away, or something along those lines. Who said she was far away?
Yeah, I remember that.
Spooky.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and again, the whole Sophia Man in Yellow's powers, like how they need to work, how powerful is this being, has been a little inconsistent in terms of how they have portrayed her abilities. Like you have, for instance, the time, the Sarah incident, where Sarah is inside the bar, inside the diner, getting ready to take a sip of that drink and getting ready to pour it back into the pitcher, but she doesn't do it. And somehow Sophia knows she doesn't do it from all the way over outside on the other side of the pool. There's no way she could have seen her directly line of sight, like with human vision. She couldn't have seen her that way. Yet she knew right away that Sarah didn't decide to dump the water in there. And that tells me that there is some kind of level of telepathy, if nothing else. Maybe there is some kind of mental aspect where Sophia or the Man in Yellow can get inside people's heads, or at the very least Sarah's head, because we know Sarah is a little more receptive to these voices, apparently. So we see that happen, but then you see other instances where, like when Sophia is getting ready to kill the priest, she has to go over and look at Kenny to make sure he's asleep before she does it, because she can't just automatically tell he's asleep like she can tell Sarah from a long way. So there are some kind of inconsistencies in terms of how her powers work, I guess you could say. Some things at times he seems almost omnipotent, almost, incredibly omnipresent, where it's all seeing, with that Sarah situation with Sophia just chucking herself into the fucking pool.
Although it may be like once he makes that connection, then he has it for good. And I think we might see that recur with Marielle. We kind of saw that. Although so do you think that dramatic grip of the arm was significant, or do you think, because she was already manifesting, she knew that Marielle was going to the ambulance and she was still inside, and the hooks came out of the cabinet, or the shackles came out of the cabinet for when Marielle was in the ambulance. So it didn't really require, unless Marielle was already dialed in, just from being one of the three in the dungeon.
Yeah.
So, but then again, that would also mean that she has hooks in Randall and Julie also.
Maybe,
and I haven't seen any indication of that yet. So everybody was getting at each, like everybody was kind of fighting or a high stress, high tension in the clinic. Do you think Sophia was causing that directly, or do you think that's just a byproduct of her presence?
I did wonder that, yeah.
Because Julie and Randall were already fighting before Sophia kind of like poked her ear in to kind of listen in.
No, that was something I wondered as well, because you see like all these people fighting at the same time, and it didn't feel like out of place, but I guess it just didn't feel organic, maybe. And maybe that's just like my subconscious knowing Sophia is in the building, so I'm automatically kind of just like assuming whatever weird shit is happening, she is probably to fucking blame. But that could just be me looking, trying to find shapes in the clouds that aren't really there. And I think this show does that to us sometimes. But no, so I think something that I at least noticed, like, is this, actually Sophia causing, these townsfolk to not get along? I mean, we know that this is part of her goal, right? To spread kind of dissent amongst the town. So I suppose it would make sense that wherever she goes, people start arguing. That would just make sense. But no,
because otherwise, and that's the difficult thing, because especially in the Julian Randall dynamic, he was always just kind of like down for whatever plan she had. Do you think he really just reached his wits end like organically and said, oh,
Maybe.
it was his own ideas, like, maybe you will have a seizure that you won't come out of. Then he's genuinely concerned. But he did, I mean, he pulled the he pulled the, if your dad were here card. Like, wow, he went to the jugular, yeah. So
he went there. He had no problem going there. Our friend Randall. I think that's a really good question. Was this just Randall kind of just naturally, organically just reaching his wits end because they've been going through the same thing for a little while now and he doesn't want her to get hurt? Or was there a little more of a manipulation there on Sophia's part, pushing Randall to that kind of aggravation?
Or half and half, who knows? Yeah.
But
because I mean, and then we immediately, and that was happening. I think part of what made it so sus is they did spend like the camera was on Sophia passing
we're
from
following
room.
Sophia, exactly, and that's what made it stand out. It's like we're following Sophia as we go from like argument to argument in the background. It's like, okay, this is a little weird. So it does stand out. Yeah.
And then Marielle with her strange
poor Marielle. I again, it's not easy to pretend that you're cuffed to a wall. That's not something easy to do for an actress. I don't want to be too harsh, but
although and that was right after like the dramatic arm grab that Sophia gave her, and then Sophia, and again, I think you were very right when you were talking about how she's going to get blamed for whatever happens, no matter what. In our minds, if she's present, we're automatically assume anything that's going wrong is her fault, and and she's standing there, and was her look neutral? Was it her look like she's doing it with her psychic powers? I didn't really pick up anything from Sophia's face, and I assume that Christy, if she had pulled her eyes away from Marielle having her fit against the wall, wouldn't have seen anything particularly suspicious about the facial expression of Sophia. Although I mean, if all this stuff starts happening and Sophia's always right there, pretty soon people are going to start putting two and two together. I just think, well, then again, I mean, I don't know with this group though, with the front residents, they haven't put two and two together in a long time, really.
But speaking of putting two and two together is something that that Beanie brings up here as well, which is actually a good point. I think it doesn't have to be 47. Before the talismans, there couldn't have been that many, and that's actually a really good point. I mean, before Boyd found the talismans, and even in previous cycles like Victor's cycle during the 1978 timeline, people were dying left and right. I mean, I have to imagine it would have been very hard to maintain a number of like 47 people with that many people dying almost like every single freaking day. So I think if nothing else, it's at least a data point to go off, or at least to maybe counteract the possibility that there has to be 47 people in there at all times. I'm not sure if there does have to be 47 people in there at all times, because again, I'm pretty sure we've seen times in this town where there has been less or more than 47 people. So I'm not sure if it's like a set in stone thing that there always definitely has to be 47 people in there, because again, right now there's only 46 people in there. Jim is dead now. Actually, Roger got killed, so now there's only 45 people in there. Actually, technically,
do they have like a day or two to? Because
that's the thing. Is there a day or two buffer before the children pull in their replacements? How exactly does it work? Again,
but that is a good point.
Like how direct it is.
Yeah, and Khatri brought that point. I think it was Khatri that brought that point up to Boyd specifically, right? That he told him, before you brought the talismans, we lost more people in, was it a week? We lost more people in a week
than you saw in a year or something. Yeah. Something like that.
So, and the thing is, I mean, people dying is one thing, but people arriving in very short order, that would be conspicuous, you know.
It's a little conspicuous, yeah. It is.
Because a new arrival means that somebody has to onboard them. First, you have to stop them from driving through the town again and again. Then you have to explain to them, you know, depending on how close it is to nighttime, you have more or less time to to tell them. But like if somebody does that, you know, we've seen how these nighttime arrivals go. It's like you have to come into this weird town and come into one of our houses immediately, or else a monster is going to eat you. I mean, put yourself in that position. I mean, I'd be like, man, I'd be stepping on the gas again. I don't care. They could blow out my tires with the spike strip if they want to. Man, I'd be driving on my rims to get away from this crackhead town trying to make me go in their house.
Yeah, jeez. Savior says 4 + 7 = 11. 11 is the number for angels. Man in Yellow could be a fallen angel or the God Pan. He knows all the Bible's greatest hits. Maybe. Yeah, again, I think it's going to be interesting to find. We need to find out a little bit more about the Man in Yellow's origins, or at least that's what I want to learn a little bit more of. I really enjoyed the Doug version of the Man in Yellow a lot better than I'm enjoying the Sophia version. So I really want to see like an origin story for the Man in Yellow. Where did he come from? What is this being actually? Was he human at one point? Has he always been this otherworldly kind of entity? And if so, where exactly did it come from? So I really hope we get a definitive origin for the Man in Yellow. That was one thing, you know, at least with Lost, by the time you get to the end of Lost, you at least get a definitive origin story for where the smoke monster came from. You know, this incredibly mysterious force that has been wreaking havoc on the island for 6 seasons. You finally find out exactly who it is, exactly what it is, and where it came from and how it came to be. So I am hoping at some point we do get a definitive origin for the Man in Yellow and find out where this entity came from. Was it ever a human? And if not, where exactly did it originate from? Like they got to do that.
Yeah, I have to believe so too. And that's why I think I've been so resistant to a lot of theories, because I think they're writing their own lore. I really think they're writing their own story. They know where it's going. They will throw certain things in, and some of it is very obviously a red herring. Some of it is a little less, but they've made repeated references to like little things, and I think it's just a distraction. Like what, for example, I mean, I knew the minute that Jade picked Capricorn as a safe word, I was like, oh man, all the horoscope people are just going to go fucking bananas. They're going to be theorizing. And I don't think it has a single iota to do with anything whatsoever to the overarching story. I think it's just, I mean, it's the same way you'd use, you know, like what you'd use a safe word that people aren't going to use in casual conversation generally, you know. So, you know, you can't have the safe word be "get me out of here."
It can't be too common. It can't be like, "Hey, I need help." No,
right?
It's unique, yeah.
yeah. But they do that on purpose. I know they do that on purpose, and they know what the writers know what effect that's going to have on the really serious investigators and the fans that really do the big time dives on like every aspect and every line of dialogue and whatnot. I really did like, I mean, I really liked episode 5 though. And ironically, I mean, while people would say you know, that the high point was the dolls breaking through, and I'd love to talk about those, but boy, did I love that scene with Henry, man. And the one thing that I liked, the one thing that hit me in the heart the most was when he was talking about the note. Victor had a note.
Oh, and Victor would play his note as a child when he would talk, when he was talking about how they would play the piano together as a family.
So realistic, so relatable, because you want to include, you know, you got a little kid who can't do too much, but you give them responsibility for a note. And I've done that with like my friend's grandson came and he was like 6 or something, and we gave him a power tool and he couldn't handle that, so I laid out a board and like started a few nails and gave him a hammer, and that was his task. And me and the grandpa, we were sawing stuff and like I was building a bookcase down in my garage. Pardon me. But this little kid had his hammer and his nails, and his task was to draw, to hit these nails into this board. Now I was just going to throw it. It was going to be garbage anyway, but for him, that was a task. And that's exactly like, giving Victor a note, an important part of the song, but he's responsible for this note. All right, Victor, when I do this, when it gets to this part of the song, you hit your note. And that was so relatable and so cool. And, I think you feel the same way about drunk characters. I think we both dislike drunk characters, how they're portrayed most of the time. And most of the time it's not it's the actors that can't pull it off. And he almost lost me when he was like, "Oh, do you have cards?" Oh, and he's grabbing the crocheting that lady was doing or whatever.
And he looked drunk. He played a convincing drunk.
Yeah. So man, but that hit me in the heart. And there's been only a few times when when the allergies kick up and my eyes start watering. But that one, I was like, ooh, allergies are striking again. Damn it, this pollen in the air.
A little bit of pollen in the air. He definitely played a convincing drunk, for sure. He definitely had the part down to the point where it felt believable, even to the point where it kind of felt believable that maybe even young Victor had seen this before, like had to take care of his father once or twice. But I'm worried for Henry. I'm very, very worried for Henry. I mean, I don't know if anybody has seen any of the trailers for episode 6 and stuff. There's no spoiler in it or anything, but there is something in the trailer for episode 6 that shows just Boyd giving CPR to someone, but we can't see who he's giving CPR to. So but a lot of people are theorizing that it is Henry. So a lot of people think it's Henry, that he might go next week. Not next week, but the week after. But
it's a lot of stress for an old guy.
Well, I mean, he is old. I mean, this is a lot of stress for a place like this, and excessive drinking on top of it, the way that he has been, definitely is not going to be good for his heart. I could totally see him having some complications and needing medical attention, and maybe just like flatlining.
Or that diabolical. So that will get people, Chris, right now people aren't really that impressed with Sophia from what I gather. They're just like, okay, we get what she is, but whatever. But boy, you wanted people to hate her, have her get in, do a little short range whatever myocardial infarction or something on Henry, and that will turn the fan base against. I mean, that will cement her as a hated element.
Maybe. But yeah, let us know what you guys are thinking as well. What have you guys been thinking of the season so far? Episodes 1 through 5. What were some of your favorite parts, your least favorite parts? What are you guys looking forward to in the second half of the season? Sound off in the comment sections, guys. What are you guys thinking? Let me scroll up here and catch up. Let's see what you guys have been saying. Yeah, I cannot wait for the next episode. Is this the last season? No, thankfully, this is not the final season. There will be one more season after this. So season 5 will be the final season, and we're told that will be airing next year in 2027. So hopefully we won't have a crazy wait in between seasons 5 and 6 like we have for previous seasons. It seems like they're getting an earlier start on season 5 than they have previously. They've already begun writing for season 5 already. And from what we're told, they're going to start filming season 5 as early as this summer. And it's, summer is pretty much here. So yeah, I think we're going to be getting season 5. I imagine probably anywhere from mid to late 2027, but I don't think we're going to have to wait all the way to 2028 like some people are thinking. It seems like they're getting a much quicker jump on it, and they are definitely going to want to get their filming done by the time summer is over. They are not going to want to be up in Nova Scotia, Canada, filming in fall and in winter like they had to for season 3, where it nearly killed them. They're definitely not going to want to be doing that. So I think we could get it maybe mid 2027. We could get season 5, the final season. But no, this is not the final season. We have one more season after this.
Yeah, it still blows my mind. See, we knew that Fromville, we know that Fromville was created from scratch. It was basically an empty field, and we saw the overhead view of what it looked like prior to the construction starting there. And I thought, there was infrastructure. The infrastructure, all they had was like roads and driveways and stuff. Even Colony House is built on site. And for some reason, I thought Colony House was the exception. I thought that was I thought it was already existing and everything else was built. But Colony House, that's part of why Colony House is the way it is, because they're not going to do plumbing and electrical and everything to build up a fully functional house. So that's why a lot of the stuff in Colony House looks the way it does. And a lot of the interiors are a little bit sparse. I am such a mark for movie making, though. So I tend to buy into it. I get suckered into it, and I think, well, this is a real house, and this is exactly how it is. They put, I mean, they when they're building like stairs and they're building like a 2 or 3 story place, those are sets, and it takes me a minute to, if I hadn't seen the caves being like a set on a soundstage or whatever,
they look good.
I'd be like, well, I just assume that when Doug's not filming, he just goes back down in the caves and hangs out.
Yeah. I think, and again, that's something to be said for practical sets and practical effects. I love how at the very beginning they found this old, I think it's like an old abandoned mining town or something that has been up there for a while, and they converted it into one giant massive set, one giant massive town. Like they actually built a good portion of this town from the ground up, just in this old abandoned town setting. And it really does. It has, because the way the show is, the way From is, Fromville, the place that they are, like the setting of this show is just as much a character than the characters themselves. Like, it's not like this is just world building. Fromville itself is a character. This very place is a character in and of itself. And I love that they have this kind of this working model that, they never have to change. They can just come back to it year after year, and it always feels the same. It always feels like Fromville, as opposed to a set that they have to kind of deconstruct and construct at the beginning and ending of every season.
Yeah, and I also loved that even though all that stuff was brand new, it looked so that you take something, you build it brand new, and then make it look weather beaten and depleted, like it has been out for decades, in disrepair. That's a skill in itself too, like little streaks of rust here and there, and now the grass and weeds and stuff is somewhere like that, especially if you don't tend to the weeds and grass, that'll take care of itself for you. But most of the other stuff, I mean, all these brand new constructions, then you turn around and have to make it look weather beaten and, decades old in various states of disrepair. It's like, wow, that really is quite a feat.
Yeah. No, I mean, they do a really good job of weathering things up. It's one thing to build a brand new set or a brand new set piece from the ground up, but then you really have to kind of dress it. You have to weather it, make it look old. And I think they did a really good job with the lighthouse in that regard. Yes, a big portion of the lighthouse is CGI. But if you go back to the end of season 2, when Tabitha is at the bottom of the lighthouse and she's getting ready to walk into the door, the bottom 30 feet of that lighthouse is real. That is all real, practically built. The only CGI part is the next 60 feet on top of it is all CGI. But the bottom base of the lighthouse is something they actually physically built. And I remember seeing the behind the scenes video of watching them build it and how new and fresh and clean it looked when they first got it up. And then by the time, Matt Likely and his art team got done with it, it looked so fucking good. It really looked like a lighthouse that had been out there in the forest for who knows how long. It was so weathered. So yeah, they really do a good job of dressing these things up and making it look exactly how it needs to look. Again, I really love practical effects. I'll always take a good practical effect over some kind of CGI for sure. Marielle has won me over. I am not seeing her purpose. There was a better relationship with Kenny. Hey, a lot of people share that sentiment. A lot of people share that sentiment.
Yeah, she's had a tough job to try to insert herself between the Christy and Kenny dynamic that some people had we were brought up in season 1 to to root for that kind of, or to wonder where that was going, and then have Marielle appear and just basically drive a stake in the heart of Kenny, because Kenny was very hopeful. Christy could have been, I wouldn't say she was leading him on, but she certainly wasn't, discouraging him too much. But then again, Christy, that's also relative to the degree in which Christy had reconciled herself that she wasn't getting out of Fromville, and that Kenny was going to be, you can sit there and dream about where you'd go when you get out, just as a mental exercise, something to do when you don't think you're actually going to get out. And then the appearance of Marielle kind of brought all that back to brought reality back.
Christy wasn't right for that one. She I don't know. I feel like she maybe led Kenny on a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know. But again, the Christy and Marielle thing, and I agreed with a lot of you guys in the chat who said the same thing during the last stream. It just, and maybe it's just the actors playing those roles, but Christy and Marielle just don't have any romantic chemistry at all.
No.
Like they just don't. Like, they don't feel like a couple. They don't look like a couple. They don't act really well like a couple. They just don't really have that on-screen chemistry that you want two actors or actresses to have that are in a loving relationship, especially one that's supposed to be as loving as Marielle and Christy's. But yeah, I just don't get that sense from them every single time I see them on screen. Even when they're trying to portray a romantic scene, it doesn't come across as very romantic. I just feel like and again, sometimes actors just don't have chemistry, just don't have that kind of chemistry with each other, and that's okay. Sometimes it just is what it is. But I would have thought that maybe they would have tested that chemistry a little bit better before maybe casting those roles, or maybe they thought the two had good chemistry, and maybe I'm completely wrong. I very well could be.
I agree with you. I don't see it, and it looks like the chat is agreeing too.
Yeah, I don't see any chemistry there.
Yeah, it just those would be the ones. Now it's funny because the series The Boys just ended, and I always found that to be a very easy show to watch because I always fast forward past the characters that I hated, so the episodes were a lot shorter for me and less painful. I would probably be fast forwarding past Marielle and Christy scenes if I weren't invested in this show like to this degree. I would probably just, because there are certain ones. And we find this in I do this in a lot of shows. If there's characters that I don't care about, I don't care what they have to say, I don't care what happens to them, I don't care what they think, I don't care what they do, I don't mind hitting the fast forward 10 seconds and just get past them. And they're like, well, what can you say? Oh, you're going to miss out on something critical. I don't believe I'm going to miss out on something critical by fast forwarding on somebody that I hate, and I'll figure it out from context later anyway. The Marielle Christie scenes probably would be ones that, because they really haven't done too much, together. And like you said, there's very little chemistry there. Haven't really pushed the plot forward. Although this is, kind of a step in that direction. Although I would have thought that Marielle would have told Christy more about what her, very explicitly what her experiences were down in that, down in the dungeon or whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of have to do that. And especially if it's somebody that you're supposedly a couple with, where you would presumably have candid moments together, like discussions that are away from everybody else, the late night discussions or something,
pillow talk, whatever the case may be.
And the thing is, when you're the significant other, and I hate that phrase, the significant, when you're the partner of somebody like that, you can say, look, you could express yourself. You could say, hey, I do want to know about this, please, in your own time when you're ready, but I'm interested and willing to listen. And that puts it all to the person who experienced that situation. But I would have thought that at some point, again, though, I get wrapped up because it's a week to week show, and I keep having to tell myself that they've only been there about 30 days. And I know people like to push back. Not everybody has been there 30 days. From the time the Matthews arrived to now has only been about 30 days of real time. Or like within the world. So maybe they haven't had a whole lot of time to even
maybe
because I mean I've never been through anything like Marielle has, like where you're in a dungeon tied up and tortured.
Yeah, we're in a fucking dungeon getting taken over by fucking cicada entity bugs, and just having to hear and experience the suffering and screaming and pain of everyone that's ever died in this place. And I do at least appreciate that we finally got an answer as to what they were experiencing this season. Mm-hmm. That was something that I've always wondered, because we see them just writhing in what looked to be pain. So I always wondered exactly what did Julie, Randall, and Marielle see, like when they were in that cicada coma. What exactly were they experiencing? And I was glad we finally got that answer this season, that they were experiencing the pain and the suffering of everyone that's ever died here. That's some heavy fucking shit. That's going to change you.
Yeah. And, when faced with certain things, sometimes you need time alone to process it within yourself before you start talking about it to other people, before you can even verbalize it, before you can even find the words to try to make someone else understand it. You have to like get it within yourself and kind of at least get your bearings. So I guess I can give her a little bit of grace. And if you told me at the beginning of this episode that I'd spend 10 minutes defending Marielle in the show, I'd have said you're crazy. But no, I still think she's a weak link in the show, but part of it's by design, part of it's just bad luck, I guess. And but the lack of chemistry, you can't really, there's not much you can do for that. I mean, we have to play the cards that we're dealt. As far as viewers of this show, we have to accept it, because they're not going to change that.
Oh yeah,
well, and they're not going to kill her, apparently.
I mean, again, now that we're at episode 5 of season 4, I definitely thought we would have at least lost one character by the midway point. Like I was actually very surprised that we haven't really lost any. I mean, yeah, we lost Roger the NPC, but he was the epitome of an NPC, of a background character. Right. I thought for sure by the time we would get midway through season 4 that we would have already lost at least one character. Again, I was expecting a little bit darker of a season, just based on everything that we've been seeing, some of the stuff that we've been hearing about how, the closer it gets to the end is when it gets the scariest. I really figured with season 4 being the beginning of the end that this is going to be the season when it starts getting super dark. And maybe it still will, and maybe that's just stuff that they're saving for the second half of the season. Maybe these last 5 episodes are going to be much darker than the first 5 episodes, or at least I'm hoping that they're going to be. But yeah, I guess I was just maybe expecting the season to be a little bit darker from the beginning, seeing as this is it. We're at the end now. This is the ending of the story, the final 20 episodes, the final 15 episodes now. So if there was ever a time where plot armor needed to get a little bit thinner and you need to start killing off characters, now is that fucking time. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't lose anybody midway through the first half.
Do you think that'll be the person that's getting the CPR in number 6, like a major person? I think Henry's, again, a lot of people think it's going to be Henry. I think Henry's a good idea, just because we see Victor in the trailer as well, standing on the roof of Colony House, looking very despondent, almost like he's ready to jump. So I thought, okay, could those two scenes be a correlation? Is Victor up on the roof of Colony House because he just lost his dad, Henry? Because whoever Boyd's giving CPR to, he's giving it to them inside Colony House. So it is somebody inside Colony House that is getting CPR. So yeah, again, a big portion of the fandom, Henry seems to be the most popular guess right now, and I'm kind of with the fandom now. I think as well. I think Henry is a good guess for who is on the ground there getting CPR, just based on that Victor scene as well. But yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a main character that's there on the ground in that scene, not just some background character. Oh shit! And BK says that Marielle is dating and engaged to Christy in real life too.
Oh wow!
Lots of luck with that one, then.
Wow! Wow! Well, congratulations!
Yeah.
Congratulations to them both.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that. Did not know that. That must be very interesting. Coming to work every day with your significant other working on a show like this. I suppose that could be cool, though. I mean, a show that's this fun to work on. I suppose that could be fun for them, maybe. I guess the question is, did they meet on the show, or were they already together before? Who knows? Who cares? But yeah, congratulations to them. Congrats.
Right.
Great for them. But
maybe in their real life they have better chemistry.
I imagine in real life they have more chemistry than they do on screen, because their characters do not have any chemistry. At least they don't really seem like they have much chemistry. So yeah, maybe it's better in real life. Oh damn, the toxic relationship is real, says Kristen. maybe. But yeah. I think we will move on. We will move on from Christy and Marielle. I think we've talked enough about them fucking too. But yeah, zero.
Kristen Gallo says maybe Sarah chooses to off herself instead of dealing with the voices. That could be. Who knows? I mean, yeah, it could be anything. It could be Marielle getting into the, to the narcotics again and ODing.
And again, it could also just be a background character as well. Like I'm really hoping it's not going to be. I'm hoping that we're finally going to get into the point where we're going to start losing some main characters. Like we need to. There's a lot of characters on this show. Not all of them are going to make it, or at least I'm assuming not all of them are going to make it. Now is the time to start thinning some of that plot armor and to start killing some of these characters off. It will make for some very intriguing storytelling. So I am hoping that it's going to be a main, but yeah, I mean, there is a possibility that it is just a secondary character. That's possible as well.
Yeah. And there's nothing to say that, I mean, if you're getting CPR, that doesn't mean that you're going to die. I mean, that's the purpose of CPR, is not for you not to die.
Boyd might save whoever, I mean, they definitely portray the trailer as though this person is going to die, but that's most likely on purpose. I mean, we know how they like to kind of make these trailers very misleading at times. Right. So yeah, I mean, just because we see Boyd administering CPR and Christy right next to him saying, Boyd, like give up or something like that, doesn't necessarily mean that that person is going to die. Maybe Boyd will save him. And I'll play it. I'll play the trailer for anyone who maybe hasn't seen it yet, or for anybody who wants to see it. It's not much. Again, they don't really put much in this episode 6 trailer. In terms of trailers for episodes, this one is probably the least spoilery one I've seen all season. And I really hope the rest of their episode trailers going forward are just like this, where they don't show us much. I think it shows like 3 scenes and that's it. And we don't get really anything spoilery from really any of the scenes. So this was a really, really good trailer for episode 6 in terms of just giving us perfectly enough, but not showing too much like they have in previous trailers. So let me pull it up here and we will take a look at the season 4 episode 6 trailer. And
I haven't seen it either. This will be my first time, honestly.
I was going to say, I don't think you've seen it, right? Okay. Awesome.
No.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, it's really not spoilery. Like this is one of the least spoilery trailers I've ever seen them do. But yeah, here we go, folks. Without further ado, here is the teaser trailer for season 4, episode 6, coming next Saturday. Unfortunately, not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
You want me to plan a suicide mission because of some things that you saw in a mushroom trip.
This is our chance, Boyd. I went looking for answers. I found answers. This is our shot. Victor's on the roof.
The man in the suit. Is there anything else you can remember about him?
I could try.
No, boss.
Come on, stay with me.
Wait, it's not going to work.
Don't you do this.
Ooh! And again, another reason why I think Henry's a good idea is the look on Tabitha's face here. Like Tabitha's looking at this and she seems very distraught by, I mean, I suppose Tabitha would probably feel that way for anybody dying in front of her, but that, I don't know, the look on Tabitha's face, the worry, the amount of worry she has on her face.
2 husbands in 2 days. Yeah. Fuck.
It does tell me that maybe this is someone that she kind of actually knows or even cares about a little bit. So I think the Henry idea is a strong one as opposed to who's getting CPR here.
Yeah, and with Marielle in the off to the side there, we know. I mean, that's why
you hadn't seen it.
Marielle, yeah.
Yeah.
So we know exactly. We know who it isn't.
We know who it is.
Know who it is. Yeah.
We know who it is. We know it's not Christy. We know it's not Marielle. We know it's not Boyd, and we know it's not Tabitha. Everybody else could potentially be on the chopping block.
Yeah, Michonne Michael says no. Yeah, exactly. No.
Oh, and we know it's not Kenny. We know it's not Kenny.
Oh,
Kenny's there too.
Stay with me. Wait, it's not gonna work. Don't you do this.
Boyd, it's not gonna work. Don't you do this.
But then of all the things that they could put,
anybody getting lost flashbacks to when Jack just wouldn't give up on trying to bring Charlie back to life in season 1, like when Charlie first gets taken by the others and they string him up by the tree, and Jack and Kate finally find him and they're trying to give him CPR and like he's like dead, it's over. But then Jack just won't fucking stop. He just keeps giving Charlie CPR, banging on his fucking chest, and boom, he kind of brings him back eventually. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we have a scene like that here as well, where maybe this person won't die.
I have no idea.
But I kind of hope they do. I honestly kind of hope they do. Whoever it is, I hope it's a main character, and whoever it is, I do kind of hope that they die, because I feel like the show needs something like this. The show needs something like this to kind of spice it up a little bit, and a nice profound death scene of a main character is a really good catalyst to kind of propel your story forward.
Yeah, but of all the things that they could put in a trailer, they do this, and then they have Victor up on the roof.
Exactly.
That kind of tells me. But the thing is, I don't trust that one bit. I mean,
exactly. That could tell us that this is Henry, or that could tell us literally the exact opposite. That the fact that Victor's up on this roof means it's definitely not going to be Henry. That is how From works, right?
And the chat is fighting. They're evidently maybe they're not together, or they are together, or they're not. Christy and Marielle. So, I don't know. We don't know. We heard it in the chat, and then now we're hearing the opposite in the chat. So fight it out.
That's I care more about their on-screen characters. What these actors do on their off time is totally up to them. But we support them all. But yeah, no, I again, with these trailers being deliberately deceptive, I mean, we've seen it time and time again where they will structure a trailer to make us as the audience think one thing is happening when something totally different happens. Right. So yes, them throwing this shot here of Victor up on the roof, it reinforces that feeling like, holy shit, it's probably Henry that's getting killed, but it could just be one giant misdirect.
Yeah, just like the Elgin Boyd scene where Elgin says the truth always comes out, and then we get the cut to Boyd saying, "I would make sure it doesn't," and it's like, oh wow, Boyd's gonna do something. Exactly. But it's like, if I were you, I'd make sure it doesn't. It's like, oh, that's a very important editing. Yeah, so
perfect example. Exactly. Yeah. The show can be deceptive with its edits for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Might be Elgin or Fatima. I mean, that's a possibility as well. And again, it is at Colony House, right? So I suppose that at least narrows it down somewhat slightly, or at least we know who are the main characters left from the town. We know it's probably not going to be one of them. But then again, a lot of people have been spending a lot of time at Colony House lately. Kenny's at Colony House now. He's no longer living in the town. Boyd's always there. Donna's there. Like, a lot of our main characters are at Colony House. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Fatima, I think Elgin or Fatima could be a possibility. Again, anyone in Colony House could really be a possibility.
Is there any clue about the room that they're in? Because
they're in the living room. It looks like they're in the living room, like right where, like right behind them is the doorway. It looks like the door to Colony House, like right behind. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not.
But it's not. It's not.
Oh, this could be at the top of the stairs. Even this could even be at the top of the stairs. This could be at the top of the stairs.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if maybe Fatima put all of her life force into her golem to bring it to life.
Oh God, Fatima!
Now she has to breathe her life into the golem so she can strike back.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
would be pretty wild. I'm just talking out of my ass here, but
yeah, it's
that
the
would be a
Golem Frankenstein style. I
oh
mean,
my
you know,
goodness.
I love the parallels between what Fatima's doing with this Golem and Victor Frankenstein and his monster. Very, very prevalent. And again, I think they're going to have similar outcomes. If Fatima's Golem does come to life, it's only going to be a matter of time before it breaks free from her control, because that is what golems have been known to do. They're known for gaining their own sentience and breaking free from their controllers, from their creators.
Yeah, Nan says maybe the golem fell through the ceiling onto someone. Yeah, there's already water damage, so yeah, you can't.
Maybe, maybe this is very true.
Oh,
Is it Sophia? Is it Sophia pretending to flatline or something? I mean, I feel like you never know what Sophia is capable of. But again, again, another thing that makes me think it might be Henry is we get that one little shot. It's not a scene or anything, just a one little snippet of a photo, a still from episode 6, and it shows Sophia sitting at the bar with Henry and Sophia both at the bar in town, and Sophia has this like very kind of like sadistic kind of smile on her face, and I always thought that, okay, is she planting some kind of seed here? Is she going to be manipulating Henry in some kind of way here to get him to maybe drink himself to death or something? Let me see. Let me bring it up here, and I'm sure most of you guys have probably already seen it. We've showed it a few times before, but this is a shot from episode 6, the upcoming episode 6 that we are waiting to see. This is from that episode, and we see here Sophia and Henry at the bar. It looks like they're at the bar anyway, drinking, sharing a nice drink. So I wonder what exactly is going on here in this scene. What could frickin' Sophia be possibly be planting inside Henry's head here that could potentially lead to a circumstance of events that ends with Henry's death? Could this all be the start of it? It could, if Henry does die in this episode, if he is the one getting CPR. Could Sophia's hand be behind it in some way? Could she have manipulated Henry down a certain path? Or is Henry's death more of natural causes? Did he just drink himself to death? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah,
if it's even him, that's so crazy. Yeah, because
tells me there's some manipulation going on here. That is the face of someone that is up to no fucking good. That is the face of someone that is up to no fucking good right there.
I know. But you know what? They do that. I mean, they do that with politicians too. They'll catch somebody in the middle of a word or something and then freeze frame them. Yeah. And they're like, this person is evil. You can tell. I'm like, oh, okay, no. You know, this might be an entirely pleasant interaction where they're just sharing some delicious iced tea.
Yeah,
but because it's Sophia, nobody's gonna believe it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the golem is coming. It's in Victor's drawings. Yeah, it is. We were actually looking at on our previous stream, actually on the stream we recently did. I don't know if it was yesterday's stream or last week's stream. But yeah, we were looking at the drawings recently, and we were looking at the golem, and we even brought up there's even a specific post that has this golem image on it, and it's kind of animated and brought to life, and in the image you see the golem has kind of like reddish eyes, and that's this drawing right here amongst all of other Victor's sea of drawings, this little black figure. A lot of people think that this is a drawing of the golem, and yeah, I mean, you guys definitely could be right. You guys could definitely be right, especially after seeing that official post that the official MGM account posted of this drawing right here with, you know, with like lit up red eyes, basically the same drawing, only with added lit up red eyes. So yeah, a lot of people have come to think that this is the golem, that this is a representation of the golem, and that it will come to life. And maybe it will. Maybe it will.
Yep. I mean, that's one thing that we did get in this episode was Kenny going up to Fatima and apologizing for not supporting her. And, you know, it seemed like Fatima was a little bit standoffish at first. And then when Kenny asked a question about what it was like, she kind of warmed up a little bit. But do you think that's Kenny just keep like realize? Do you think Kenny still thinks that she's batshit crazy and he just wants to keep her close to kind of have a better idea of what's going on with her? Or do you think he really did just apologize? Do you think he was sincere when he's like, we're supposed to support each other, so I'm sorry and I'm going to support you now?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe a little of both.
Okay, because that was one I didn't take. I didn't take super big notes this time around, but I was like, that scene was a little bit weird. But then again, it also got it got Fatima to expound a little bit about her situation, her connection with Smiley, and her fear that she's going to look out the window one day and he's going to be out there. And then what does that mean? Does that mean that he might influence her to open a window? Does that mean that she can feel what he feels, but what if he feels like, man, you really need to open that window?
What if you really get the urge? Is he gonna feel that? Is he gonna feel one night when you're laying down and you really need a fresh breeze? Is he gonna feel you pop the fucking window open and to come in? That could be bad. That could be very bad. Again, this whole Smiley connection thing, I think that's, and again, we've been talking about this for a very long time in terms of we were hoping that the character was going to go in a similar direction like this, because it just would have been such a big missed opportunity to not leave some kind of connection between Fatima and Smiley after what they have just been through. Like you need to kind of keep that connection going from a writing standpoint. So I'm so fucking glad they did. But I want to see where it goes next. And I would love to see if at some point maybe Fatima can use this connection to her advantage. Right now, she's looking at it as a disadvantage. She's looking at it as, Smiley can feel all of my fear. He can feel my suffering, and he likes it. He likes when I'm afraid. But maybe she needs to get to the point, and maybe building this golem will give her that strength. To the point where maybe she can start using this connection to her advantage to learn some more about them, who they are, who they really are, who really brought them this deal, which she seems to not be able to remember yet. So I'm hoping at some point Fatima will get there. Right now, she seems pretty defeated by this and pretty scared by this, which is totally understandable. But I'm hoping she gets to a point where she can maybe use this connection to her advantage.
Right. And if you'd have told me that we'd get through 5 episodes without that, and it would be very on the nose, but if you told me we'd get through 5 episodes without a scene where Smiley deliberately goads her, or deliberately
Smiley at all.
Right. I would have said, that there has to be a scene where he shows up and just says like, "Hi, Mom," or something like kind of. Yes. I would have thought it would have had to have. Right. It's almost like a guarantee, and we haven't seen a whiff. Yeah, like you said, not a whiff of.
Not a whiff, and that's been another kind of disappointing. I guess that's been one of the more disappointing parts of season 4 for me so far. It's like you go through all of this trouble to bring Smiley back in a very sus way to begin with, in terms of the timeline of Fatima getting pregnant and Smiley getting killed and reborn and all that, and how it's a little wonky. But you go through all this trouble to bring Smiley back. You think that he's going to be, a pretty big part of the beginning of the season. And he wasn't. I thought that was a little bit disappointing that here we are 5 episodes in and we haven't gotten a single Smiley scene other than him saying hi to Kenny right at the very beginning, which is more of an extension of the end of season 3 than it was of season 4, if anything. But I was a little bit surprised that we didn't get really any Smiley in the first half of the season.
Let's see. I guess we could go back to the very beginning of this episode when Roger finds the rope, then they're voting on whether to pull it in, and Roger, the guy that finds the rope and makes the step.
Yeah, we were
voting against pulling it in.
Roger the NPC just made me more and more pissed this entire fucking episode. And again, if anyone who watched our episode 5 initial breakdown and review, half of it is me just playing Roger. I'm right there with you. It's like, you have the gall, you have the nerve to say anything to Donna about pulling something out of the nightmare lake when you, motherfucker, are the one who saw a rope heading into the fucking Nightmare Lake and didn't even think twice of grabbing that motherfucker and yanking on it like it was your little pecker. What are you thinking, Roger? What exactly are you thinking? Yeah, that was very crazy. That was very crazy for him to be the one that started all of this. And then for him to kind of try and scold Donna for wanting to bring it in, for her to actually want to see what you just unearthed, what you might have just unleashed on us. Excuse me if I want to get a closer look at the nightmare you just brought to our doorstep, Roger. Yeah, so for him getting an attitude with Donna, he had to fucking go.
Yeah, that was such a weird sequence. Then again, with Ethan telling Donna, yeah, I like it better when you're around and that kind of stuff. It's like, man, they're I think the writers are deliberately putting targets on specific characters.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, every time they say I like it better when you're around, but then again, they haven't killed Donna off yet. I thought she was going to get it. I thought the doll, the scarecrow, was going to get her. Patty's going to get it. I want to see if they held Patty's face up against the fire, but her hair didn't look like it sizzled. I didn't freeze frame it and move it forward, but we saw with the Hound, in Game of Thrones, if you get your face thrown in the embers, your face is going to be burned. But then I didn't see Patty's hair get burned, so we'll see if she has a frizzly wig for the next episode or something. Maybe she'll be mad. She'll be mad too.
If we ever even see her again, I doubt we'll ever even see that fucking character again.
Oh, she's gonna run back to Colony House and narc everybody out. She's gonna tell everything.
I just mean, like, I guess narratively, like on the story, I'll be surprised if we see much of that extra again. But no, when it comes to and that's another thing that I was wondering. They have a dead body of one of these scarecrow things. They were lucky enough to kill one of them. If I'm Ellis, if I'm Donna, if I'm Tabitha, I'm bringing that thing back to town to show everybody, because this is a huge revelation. This is a huge new discovery that they have just come up against, knowing that people's nightmares can actually be manifested here in this place when you die. That's a huge new revelation that these characters had no idea of. Yes, they had there were theories of it. We hear Sarah talking about it in terms of her brother Nathan had that theory that people's fears would come to life when they die here. But now it seems like we're getting, more definitive proof that that really is the case. So if I'm Ellis, if I'm Donna, if I'm Tabitha, I'm grabbing that scarecrow and I'm dragging it all the way back to town to show everybody.
Yeah, I thought that, and the thing I liked about it, because the first time I thought she just stabbed that thing with a stick, and I was like, okay, because I'm watching, when I was playing it, it was during the watch parties, and I'm like, keeping an eye on chat, and then, not really paying super close attention to the actual episodes because I want everything to run smoothly. But that was very kind of interesting. So rather than having the talismans posted as like to ward them off or to keep them away, it's almost like keeping your weapon nearby.
Or they're multi-used, maybe. Because some of these things were held together by metal braces, and you couldn't move them. Like the one that Jade removed, like he had to move a metal brace off the back, and then it fell over. So some of them are kind of like stuck in place. So maybe it's just again, it's kind of ambiguous how these things work. Do they work just as protections that ward things off, or can you actually use them as blunt weapons as well? And I guess that begs the question, do you specifically need to stab one of those scarecrows with one of those totems, or can you kill it with anything? I guess is the question. Ellis went up to it and hit it with just a regular stick and nearly fucking killed it.
Knocked it down,
over. It was knocked it down. It's like and that was the thing. Like, I was definitely expecting these scarecrow creatures, these doll creatures, to be way more formidable than they were. I was expecting them to be a lot tougher to take out, but they weren't. They kind of ended up being not a joke, but they ended up being able to get handled rather easily, other than taking out NPC Roger. Everybody kind of makes them out fine. And, and we got one dead next to him. We got fire mitts running off into the fucking woods, which was hilarious, by the way. You have that one where both of its fucking hands are on fire. Good old fire mitts walking up, sees its friends dead, wants none of that fucking smoke, just turns around and walks in the other direction. And then to top it all off, they don't go after it and kill it. Which makes no sense to me, because Tabitha literally just got done saying, I remembered how to hurt them. I remember how to kill them now. So go fucking kill that one with the fucking fire mitts that's walking in the other direction, so it doesn't come back another night and take you the fuck out.
Right. That was a weird one.
That whole sequence was very jarring, the way it was written, the way it was, kind of laid out. I think it could have been laid out a little better.
Yeah. So are we thinking that the scarecrows are sentient within themselves, where they can say, like, they can actually retreat if they sense danger themselves, or were they being controlled by something remote, something bigger than themselves, and that entity decided on a tactical retreat for that creature?
I don't know. I mean, if we're to take what the show was giving us, at least from Tabitha's flashbacks about these once being her dolls that she played with as a child, or at least a previous version of her did, and how they gave one of the neighbors or one of the people that she was with nightmares. Like, these dolls gave him nightmares. So he threw them in the lake, and boom, next thing they know, they came out of the lake. So that tells me that it's more likely that these nightmares are just manifesting in Fromville. But then again, like you said, is there a possibility that someone is doing the manifesting? Is it just this place that is bringing people's nightmares to life? Or is there like an actual sentient being behind bringing these nightmares to life and can control them to a certain extent? I guess that is a good question. I'm not sure. I kind of always just assumed that it was just Fromville, that it was just the evil of this place was bringing people's nightmares to life. But I suppose it could be possible that maybe the man in yellow is doing it a little bit more directly himself, or someone else.
Yeah, I just think of it in terms of, I mean, we've all played role-playing games or even computer games, Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. And when you're a kid or whatever, you have the monsters. All they do is attack. They attack to the death, and then they never retreat. But as you get more nuanced or whatever, or in computer games where the AI gets a little better, if something takes 80% damage or their hands are on fire, you'll have them retreat. You'll have them retreat, regroup, and live to fight another day. So I wonder,
pre-programmed maybe type thing.
Yeah. So I wondered about that when I saw that scene. And again, it's still the nighttime. They're not out of the woods. I mean, they're literally not out of the woods yet.
He's not out of the woods. They're not out of the woods. That is for sure. But yeah, and as Juan Solar brings up, yes, they did set us up to believe that Donna was going to get it, but she didn't. And but I do think she's still on the chopping block. I think Donna could be a real good possibility of a character that's going to die this season. And Benjamin Williams just brought up a really great idea. I actually like this theory. I actually really like this theory, because we've been wondering and speculating exactly who or what is going to be on that funeral pyre. Someone's body is getting burnt at Colony House. This isn't happening in town. It's not happening somewhere in the woods where they burnt Smiley. This is happening right on the front lawn of Colony House. So yeah, now I am starting to wonder, is this going to be whoever is maybe Boyd is giving CPR to? If it is a member of Colony House that they die, is that their funeral pyre? Or does that scene maybe take place a little bit later on in the season and it is Donna's funeral? So I thought that's an interesting idea, Benjamin. I mean, if Donna were to die, a funeral pyre in Colony House front lawn, that does feel kind of fitting for Donna's stature. You know what I mean? Like, she was the leader of this place, almost like you're giving her this kind of Viking send-off, like she was your Jarl or something. But I don't know. I think that's an interesting idea, that maybe Donna could potentially be the one on the funeral pyre. I always assumed that it was going to be the dead body of the Scarecrow doll that Ellis and Donna bring back to town. I'm really hoping that they're going to bring the body back to town to show everybody, and then they'll just burn it. But then again, I also thought that Fatima's golem was also a possibility, that is what they're burning on that pyre, that the golem does come to life and it breaks free from her control. But no, I like the idea that it could potentially be Donna as well, Benjamin. I think that's also a very interesting possibility because, again, we all saw that heavy foreshadowing of Donna's death scene. It's very much coming at some point.
Interesting. Now, how quick did Ellis bail on Roger too? That was the one thing I didn't notice.
I loved it. Fucking loved it. He tried once. He goes up. He tries to pull the freaking monster off Roger once. The monster like flings Ellis off of him, and then Ellis is like, "Okay, I've had enough. I tried. I did my part." And that's it. I don't have to be too guilty now.
and when Ellis is telling the story, he's like, "Man, I tried super hard to save
everything. I tried everything I could to save him.
I fought him for minutes of fighting." Yes,
I fought him off single-handedly with nothing but a stick.
What they did, man. Oh, poor, yeah. But again, that's the sad thing, though. Is I mean, nobody's mourning the death of Roger. That was the thing. He was such a like an unpleasant character from the minute we knew that he had a name to dead, and it was like, you know, I guess people were like, it was almost more. I mean, it's a death, but it's almost comedic, or it's somebody that nobody cares about. Nobody had any. I didn't see even with all the Roger hate. I didn't see anybody like being pro Roger. You know, so it's like, okay, he was literally a character that nobody cared about.
Roger committed a lot of sins. It's hard to stick up for Roger. Yeah, the one that fucked up Roger is still on the loose. I would have went for his ass. Nobody's sleeping tonight. Yeah, again, it seems like we got two of these things still out there on loose. They only killed one of them. We saw three of them come out of the lake. It looked like there were three in total. But yeah, they only killed one of them. Fire Mitts and the one that killed Roger, they're both still out there wandering around somewhere. So yeah, I mean, it's you know, like you said, nobody's ass is safe when you're sleeping tonight. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. In the cabin. Yeah, what do you do? And yeah, they're going to be sleeping rough. Are they going to be sleeping under the open stars?
Well, I mean, I have to imagine that as soon as it got light, they headed right back to town, and I think that was the plan. As soon as daylight breaks, we're going to head and get back to town. So they'll probably be back in town by the time another night falls.
Oh, okay. But I thought it was still the middle of the night when the episode ended. Am I missing?
Oh yeah. They definitely had to spend I mean, like when they were done, when Fire Mitts was walking away, yeah, it was still very much dark. They definitely had to spend the rest of the night either there or maybe they started their walk early. I don't know, but yeah, they definitely still had a little bit of time before daylight came around. It looked like.
Oof, yeah, that's gonna be.
I don't know. Maybe they just hid. Maybe they hid until the sun came up.
Yeah, a very sleepless night. They were having trouble sleeping to begin with. You know, even before the attack. You know, that's what they were complaining about. You know. Like, you know, Don was like, get some sleep. And, you know, I think it was a Patty is like, how are we going to get some sleep? You know? So yeah, I mean, maybe you can go a night without sleep and walk all the way back to town, but man, they're going to be cashed out by the time they get back to town. They're not going to be good for anything.
Oh, they'll be beat. They'll be super tired. Yeah. And yeah, this is definitely very much the truth, as Jenny Tucker says. Some people are genuinely terrified of dolls, though. Nightmare fuel for them. My friend says it's the eyes. Yeah, it is. I mean, there are plenty of people out there that are genuinely just terrified of dolls. Any kind, multiple different kinds of dolls, any doll, they're just terrified of them. And yeah, a lot of the times it's the eyes. It's, you know, like the famous line from Jaws, you know, the black eyes, lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes. They're creepy. There's something creepy about the stillness, the blackness of a doll's eyes, staring into the void, I guess you can say, staring into the nothingness of these just like empty eyes. So yeah, I can totally understand where some people kind of get that fear of these kind of inanimate objects like dolls they have that creepy aspect to them, for sure. Absolutely creepy. The Cabbage Patch sequel showed me they're just trying to stretch out for 5 seasons because that was so. I mean, honestly, Quan, it was kind of unnecessary in the grand scheme of things. Like I thought that these Scarecrow things was gonna. I thought it was gonna be, I guess, a little bit more of a bigger reveal, I guess you could say, and it kind of was. I suppose. I mean, we did get the reveal that people's nightmares do come to life in this place. So I suppose that is one good kind of thing that came out of the whole, demonic Kool-Aid men scene. But yeah, it was a little underwhelming in terms of, like, seeing them in the trailer and seeing or at least picturing what I thought this episode was going to look like, and then actually getting it. Yeah, I think sometimes looking back on it, the Scarecrow scene, I don't know. I mean, parts of it I really like. Parts of it I think are really, really just like good horror. And other parts are kind of whimsical and kind of almost a little foolish, even. Like fire mitts. Like, we had so much fun talking about fire mitts on the stream. Just seeing, and I love the name in and of itself. Fire mitts, fire mittens, we've been calling that one. But I thought the fire mitt scene was a really good example of, going from kind of like scary, interesting horror to seeing Donna almost die from one of these things, to seeing this thing just walk around with its arms on fire, see them, and then just turn around and walk away. It just felt weird. It felt out of place. Like, the monsters in this place have always been so formidable, so scary, and that they don't stop coming after their prey. So to see the Scarecrow kind of just look at them and then just kind of turn around and walk in the other direction, that was super fucking awkward. I'm sorry. Just for me, anyway. That was an awkward scene.
Yeah. I was joking with the Kiwi Skirt, actually. I was like, in this scene, the entire doll is going to catch fire. Like, and now we can't afford a full fire suit, the stump man and all that stuff. Okay, just the mittens. Only the mittens.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It just felt a little weird. Just felt a little bit weird, I guess you could say. Felt a little bit out of place. Yeah, felt a little out of place. It did.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it just because they look like people in a suit and they look like they're moving awkwardly? Maybe did they still have a smile on too? I don't know if they still had this smiley face. Maybe they were mad because the minute they got pulled out of the ground, Donna stabs him and cuts him open. Maybe they were friendly up until that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But no, it was good. It was the second data point because they'd floated the idea that nightmares come to life, and
now we got the confirmation.
Yeah. So now that is true, and now you have to wonder what other people are afraid of, and how that's going to manifest if they die. What was Jim afraid of? What was Roger afraid of?
Yeah, and that is a good point. What was Jim afraid of? What was Jim's biggest fear? Because Jim is one of the most recent ones, or one of the most recent characters that is actually a character. I know Roger just died, but who knows what Roger's afraid of? Fuck him. But yeah, what exactly was Jim afraid of most? And is that something we could see coming next on the show? I don't know. And again, I feel like this nightmare thing is something that they probably could have benefited from a little bit more of, setting this up a little bit earlier in the show, because then they could have added a lot more interesting monsters over the course of the seasons. I mean, they're doing it now, and it's kind of like too late. There's really not a whole lot of time left to kind of explore it super deep. But if they would have introduced this aspect into the show a little bit earlier, like when Sarah first brings up the theory about people's fears being brought to life here, that was all the way back at the beginning of season 2. If they could have confirmed this a little bit earlier, I feel like they could have maybe utilized this aspect of Fromville a little bit better in the later seasons with some really cool and interesting monsters.
Right. Or just have, and it would be a perfect introduction to entirely random things just popping up as a menace. Somebody obviously has arachnophobia because the spiders keep popping up.
The spiders keep popping up. This is true. I actually just did a video on the spiders, very tinfoily fun kind of rabbit hole video, but a video on some of the spiders and how they related to Jade's journey in episode 5 as well. And one thing that I definitely kind of tied into it was Anansi, the spider trickster deity. this godlike spider being that can take the form of a human, a spider, or a hybrid of the two. And Anansi is said to be the god of wisdom, the god of storytelling, the god of knowledge, and has a lot of things in common with some of the aspects that we're seeing here in Fromville. But no, I mean, when it comes to the spiders, I for the longest time I was hoping that we wouldn't get spiders. I guess was my thing for the longest time. But the more that we got into the story, the further that we are getting into the story, especially now, it's getting harder and harder to deny that the spiders are going to play a more important role on the show at some point. Because at first I thought, okay, maybe the only spiders we're going to get are the spiders we already got, ones that were crawling all over Boyd and the ones that kind of bit him to pieces. Could that potentially have been what the spider drawings were a foreshadowing of? But now that we're getting way more spider action now here in season 4, and now that they're actually bringing in the Lake of Tears into the actual storyline, and considering when you look at the Lake of Tears, when you look at just about all of the drawings of the Lake of Tears, they're all depicted with a giant spider hovering over the lake. So yeah, a lot of people are very, very convinced that we are going to get a giant spider at some point. And now that we have this confirmation of people's nightmares coming to life, like you said, how many fucking people out there have arachnophobia and are deathly afraid of spiders? Maybe even Jim. Maybe even the giant spider comes from Jim's nightmare, for all we know. But yeah, I'm leaning a little bit more towards, I think we might actually get a giant spider now. At first I wasn't too sure, but now I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it.
Yeah, but all the ones we saw in this episode were part of Jade's. So we are correct in assuming that Boyd is correct, that Jade didn't go anywhere. He stayed in that room the whole time from the window. So the spiders he saw on the window weren't there. The spiders he saw in the Skull of Blood weren't there, and then the spider that was in the hallway down to the chamber of the burial, the burial chamber or whatever.
Yeah, well, yeah, none of it was real. It was all just a spirit quest in his head. But I guess the question is he going to come across any of those things when he does finally go down and retrace his steps physically? I have to imagine episode 6, one of the first things Jade and Boyd are going to do is to go down to the basement of Colony House and look for that door they found. Or the door that Jade found, at least in the dream.
Yeah, they're talking about Anansi in the chat in relation to American Gods. Yeah, he was and they actually had a separate, like I read the book American Gods, and there was like a whole separate like second story that related to Anansi in that one.
Yeah, so, that is Anansi's thing. Anansi is a storyteller. There's one of the legends of Anansi is how he makes a deal with the Sky God to purchase all of the stories of the entire Earth, puts them in a clay pot, and is outsmarted by a human at one point when he's climbing up a tree with the clay pot on his chest, and the human suggests to put it on his back. And Anansi, very angered that he was outsmarted by a human, drops the pot on the ground and spills out all the stories over the entire world and shares them with humanity. At least that's one of the legends. But the spider trickster deity Anansi has always been closely tied to storytelling, which From very much is. But yeah, I agree with you, Quan Solar. Hearing Anansi definitely makes me miss American Gods. American Gods was a decent show. It was starting to get to like the real meat of the story right when it got canceled. It had 3 seasons, and I think they were planning for 5 or 6 in total. But yeah, they were at the part where that story was just starting to get to like the real meat of the story, with everything happening with Odin and Shadow Moon and all of that. But yeah, man, American Gods was such a good fucking show. So disappointed when they canceled that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely would have kept watching it had it stayed on. It's weird how they do that, man. I will never understand that. I guess that was a different time too, where like they would just cancel things rather than giving them telling them that you get a final season, so wrap it up. But we're I will never understand how Hollywood operates, as far as that kind of stuff goes.
I mean, you try to make sense of these things. Like, you try to make sense why networks pull the plugs on certain shows, why networks leave some shows on for an extended period of time. You try to break it down and make sense of it in terms of budget and viewership and this and that. And you just, I've found anyway, that I find so many inconsistencies in terms of why networks really cancel shows. Yes, a big part of it sometimes is just viewership. If a show costs X amount to make and they're not bringing X amount of viewership in to counteract it, then yeah, they're going to pull the plug. But for so many shows I've seen that are bringing in like decent numbers and still end up getting canceled, and Netflix and HBO are notorious for this. Like, when it comes to canceling shows way too prematurely, nobody is a bigger offender of this than Netflix and HBO. They do it the most. But yeah, it sucks. I mean, I would have loved to see American Gods continue to go on, just like I would have loved to see Carnival continue on. Carnival, even though there's only 2 seasons and even though it got canceled, it's still probably in my like top 10, top 15 shows of all time. If they would have been able to continue that show, if they would have been able to do all 7 or all 12 seasons, however many seasons they were planning, I know they were planning a lot. If they had managed to do all of them and the storytelling would have continued in a similar kind of a quality, Carnival probably could have ended up being my favorite show of all time in history. Like, that's how much I was so into Carnival when that fucking show got canceled.
Yeah, I remember the watch party we did of Carnival, and even knowing that it was going to end in the middle, it was still worth watching.
It's
performances, the characters. Yeah,
good show.
I know, man. I guess that is one good thing about From, is it does look like it can run on a shoestring budget for the most part.
It can. From definitely has a lot going for it, where it doesn't cost a whole lot to make, and they can easily produce these seasons to a point where MGM does not mind footing the bill for it every year. Like, again, if From, I have to imagine, I don't know anything for certain, but I have to imagine if John Griffin and the creators of From wanted to do more than 5 seasons, MGM would probably let them do as many seasons as they wanted. I have to imagine they would. If they're ending at 5, it's because John Griffin wants to end at 5. I mean, MGM would probably give them as many seasons as they wanted.
Yeah. I say it again and again. I'm always a fan of things ending, though. So if they've sketched out a 5 season arc, then do that. Do it as good as you possibly can. End it as strong as you can. And I mean, that's the networks. That's everybody wanting that extra, to wet their beak just a little bit more, get that extra dollar out of what they turn into an IP, a property. But no, man, sometimes just finish it and have it go down in history as a great show. And I'm very content with that a lot of the time.
Yeah, me too. If anything else, it tells me that they're at least sticking to what seems to be their original plan from the beginning, which we heard very early on that they were always kind of planning that kind of 4 or 5 season kind of territory. So yeah, it seems like they've had a plan from the beginning, and it seems like they're sticking with the plan, and they're not deviating it when they're not deviating from it when the show starts to get super popular, which it is. Like, heading into season 5, heading into this season 4, is when the show has been at its most popular. So if they were ever going to kind of invest a little bit more in and expand it, it would be around now. So seeing that they have already announced that season 5 has been greenlit and it will definitely be the final season, it gives me confidence that they're at least sticking to their original story. They're telling the story that they always wanted to tell. No more, no less. So that's good. I'm good with that.
Yep. And it's encouraging. It's very encouraging to know that we are going to get the answers. They are going to presumably tie it up with a bow and let us know exactly, some of those major answers, like what are the origins of the Man in Yellow? Was he always was he always a thing? What made him the way he is? And we get to see all that stuff. What made the monsters what they are. I try not to read Reddit too much, but I occasionally get things recommended to me in Reddit, so I'll check out. And I've seen a couple good theories about and some of them are I don't even know how to explain it. But it's about the origins of the children and in relation to why the people want to kill Jade and Tabitha, and a lot of stuff about that. So I guess we can talk about that. So what was Jade's answer? He knows how to save the children at the very end. I know how to save the children. How is he going to save the children? I mean, obviously he's going to drag Boyd down into the so the catacombs or whatever they are extend all the way to the basement of Colony House as well now.
No, it didn't seem like all the way to the basement of Colony House. The way that the dream went, or at least the way that the vision went, at one point we hear Boyd say, "We've been walking down this freaking hallway forever." And it's almost seemed like Jade was kind of losing time in a sense. That I think that was meant to give us the impression that they were far away from Colony House at this point. That it might have started at Colony House, this hallway, but by the time they get to the end of the hallway and actually into the actual caves, they're far away from it.
Okay.
So, but yes, it is
they
technically attached to the basement of Colony House. But I think it's going to be a little bit different for them when they actually get down there physically. Because we do have that one little shot in one of the trailers. It's one shot that we haven't seen yet in any of the episodes of Boyd in what looks to be Colony House basement, or maybe in that hallway that they find in Colony House basement, with a sledgehammer knocking down a wall. So I'm wondering if when Boyd and Jade go down into the basement of Colony House, if maybe that door isn't there. Maybe it's walled in and they have to kind of smash through it. Or they have to smash through the wall at the end of the hallway to get into the actual caves. But at some point, it seems like they run into a wall. And I think that could be what young Jade was referring to in episode 5, when he says, in order to see the path, you must clear the way first. And in the dream, that just meant them pulling down the luggage, and boom, they found the door. But I think that was actually really young Jade giving real Jade a message that you're going to have to clear the way to get to the path. And I think that's where Boyd and the sledgehammer are going to come into place. Even if that door is exposed down there in the basement, I get the feeling when they get all the way down to the end of that hallway, they're going to have to break into the cave system physically. So I think that's where the sledgehammer comes in. But no, I mean, we really have no indication in terms of like what kind of revelation did Jade come to? How is it out of nowhere Jade just all of a sudden knows how to save the children? He knows exactly what to do, or at the very least, he thinks he knows exactly what to do. He thinks what he's going to do is work. I mean, is he really thinking it's going to be as simple as just finding the children's bodies and giving them a proper burial? I mean, again, I have to imagine it's not going to be that simple. So yeah, again, I have no idea what Jade is thinking about doing, but it seems like at the very least, he is going to try and convince Boyd to go down into those caves with him.
Yeah. And unless they bring some major league reinforcements, even from his dream or even from his vision, he knows that they're going to be in direct conflict with all the monsters. I mean, it will be everybody showing up, for a point defense for that one, which would be another wild scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why Boyd's calling it a suicide mission in the trailer for episode 6. You want me to go on a suicide mission based on some things that you saw during a mushroom trip. So Boyd's going to take some convincing. It's going to take some convincing to get Boyd to follow Jade down into these tunnels.
Oof. So it almost from episode 6 to 10, it'll almost be kind of like a miniature season in itself. And I think you kind of alluded to this at the very beginning. We got 1 through 5, which was its own little thing, and then I'm expecting kind of the same roller coaster. We'll get something super splashy for episode 6. The aftermath will be episode 7. How people deal with presumably the death of whoever.
I'm hoping either episode 6 or 7. We're going to get something big in one of those episodes. Yeah, I really hope so.
and then they of course have to finish the season with something shocking or
Yeah.
that really knocks our socks off.
Yeah, the second half of the season is going to be interesting. And again, I really am hoping that the second half of the season is going to be a little bit darker. A little bit. I really want I really want the consequences to start actually meaning something. Up until now, a lot of our main characters have had a decent degree, I guess you could say, of plot armor, where you kind of know they're just not going to get killed when they get into some of these instances. Like Donna, again, last week, going into that scene of Donna getting strangled by the doll. It's like, I mean, the whole time she's not going to die, at least not in this scene. But yeah, no, I am really hoping that the second half of the season, things are going to get a little bit darker. We're going to see things get a little bit worse for these characters. I that's what I was expecting from the beginning of the season. I really thought this was going to be the darkest season yet. And so far, it's just not. But yeah, I'm really hoping that the second half of the season is going to be a lot darker. We're going to see the stakes get raised a little bit more, and we're going to see things kind of get a little bit more focused as hopefully these storylines begin to converge a little bit more into one big one. Right now, we have a bunch of different storylines kind of pursuing their own things off on their own. But at some point, a lot of these storylines need to converge into one. Like Julie and Randall need to join Boyd and Tabitha and Jade and all of them. Like all of these characters need to be working together by the time season 4 ends. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. And just because they've given Fatima the screen time, just because they've given Marielle the screen time, those were plot lines that I thought they could have just abandoned. If they had abandoned them and didn't really go back to them or anything, I wouldn't have really have missed them. But the fact that they have done so tells me that they're going to try to wrap those into the main story as well. Just certain ones. It kind of tells you who is going to be around at least at some point later. But you just have to be hopeful. You have to trust that they're going to do that they're going to wrap all these stories, even the minor ones, even the supposedly inconsequential ones. They all have to come back around to the main thing and give us maybe a piece of the puzzle, something that either explains part of the world or is helpful to the main characters who are on this quest to unravel. The big question is how to get out of there, basically. At this point, I'd love to understand the mechanics of everything, how the monsters were made, how and the origins of everything, and I think that will come probably as part of the understanding of how to get out of there. But a lot of these other ones, let's see what the chat's up to. Is there any direction you want to go, chat?
Let us know what you guys are thinking about all of this craziness. What do you guys think when it comes to, again, that we got at the end of episode 5 that kind of, I guess you could call it a cliffhanger, where Jade has said to Boyd he knows what to do. He finally knows what to do. He knows how to save the children. What do you think Jade is going to do? What does Jade mean when he says he knows how to save the children? What do you think his plan is going to be? Yeah, as Xavier says, burn the bones like Supernatural. Again, that is very much the standard way for Sam and Dean on Supernatural. You salt and burn the bones, and next thing you know, boom, the ghost is poof, gone, finito. So yeah, again, part of me just really hopes it's not going to be that simple. It's not going to be like just as simple as Jade and Tabitha finding the remains of the Ankui children, putting them to rest in like a meaningful ceremony so they can rest easy, rest in peace, and everyone lives ever after. I'm really hoping it's not going to be that easy. And I have to imagine that they introduced Julie's story walking ability into the story for a reason. Like her story walking has to play some kind of role in the end game. So that tells me it can't just be as simple as them just finding their remains in the current timeline, burying them, and that's it. It's over.
Right.
I have to imagine it's going to be more complicated than that. And I have to imagine it's going to involve Julie's story walking in some capacity, even if it's not a huge capacity, in some small capacity at the very least, Julie's story walking needs to play a part in the end game. So yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to figure out what exactly is Jade going to try here, and will he be right? I agree with you, chat. Someone in the chat said, Jade's going to be freaking wrong the first time. Absolutely, 100% wrong. You know, this Jade's first try is probably not going to work. I 100% agree with you, Quan. I mean, I feel like just like with Julie, with the story walking, how there's going to be a lot of trial and error for her, where she hasn't really got a handle on it yet. I think Jade and Tabitha are going to have a similar experience where the first answer they come to probably isn't going to be the right one. This is probably going to take some doing as well. So yeah, I'm with you. Whatever Jade is about to plan here, I get the feeling it's not going to be the answer.
Right. And I mean, because why would they end the show? I mean, why would they answer the show in episode 5 of season 4 of 5?
Yeah, exactly.
They can't, they can't. Because then the remaining 15 episodes would just be, they would have to stretch out the enacting of that plan, which they couldn't, which they can't do. Which I think we were going to find out in episode 6. They're going to try it. Yeah, they're going to try, fail, and then have to reassess. Probably bringing in Julie, probably bringing in Randall, probably bringing in Mario.
You got to bring in all of these people. I'm telling you, all of these characters need to be working together. Sarah, all of them, all of the characters that have some kind of hand in the weirdness that goes on in Fromville. All of them need to be working together. Maybe even Elgin too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you got Shifty Sophia lurking about, trying to put a wrench in the machinery.
Exactly. Shifty Sophia or something, but and yeah, as Makita points out, in episode 5 we finally learned how all of the reincarnated Jades have met their ultimate fate. What exactly has befallen all of these Jades that have come before Jade? Well, now we know they have all been killed by the townsfolk, but we also hear that what happens to Tabitha is much worse. And yes, we do see in the previous timeline, or at least Tabitha's previous version, Miranda, Victor's mother, was seemingly killed by Smiley and eaten by the man in yellow. So yeah, what exactly is a worse fate? I mean, Jade is getting killed by humans. He's not getting ripped apart by monsters, but Jade's also getting killed by humans that he once called his neighbors. People that he probably once called friends. Like that's I don't know what's worse, getting ripped apart by monsters or getting killed by people that were your friends and neighbors. I don't know which one's worse.
And
but
I mean, some of them got it a whole lot worse. I mean, one guy gets a railroad spike in the eye, and then Christopher just had a scratch on his neck. That's what killed him. I don't know what. I mean,
but it's all human induced, I guess. Is the point. Yeah.
How did they kill the Boulder Jade? I mean,
it's a really good question. How exactly did they get how did they get this Jade in the right fucking position at the right time where they could drop a giant fucking boulder on it and squash the fucking guy? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck kind of Indiana Jones shit are you doing here, Fromville?
Yeah, I saw one of the Reddit threads saying that the boulder was another Jade, and then that guy, the guy under the boulder, wasn't just a separate Jade himself.
Is that why the boulder had the violin laying on it?
Yes.
It was the boulder's violin the whole time?
Yes.
That's funny.
That's like when everybody was the man in yellow, and when that went crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody who ever had a yellow shirt or any yellow.
Everybody was the man in yellow. Yeah.
The mug that Tilly was carrying was the man in yellow, the yellow mug.
But that's what this show will do to you, right? Like that's exactly what this show does to you. It introduced some new kind of aspect. And next thing you know, you're going back and you're looking through every little fucking scene to find anything that is similar to the new aspect that was just introduced into the show. And yeah, we end up driving ourselves fucking nuts. But yeah, that's part of the fun though. That is part of the fun of diving into the craziness. Diving into the craziness.
How do you think it would be? But yeah, not all the Jades got equal. I mean,
they all got killed by humans, but they all in different manners. Like like Christopher got his throat slashed. The one, like you said, had the railroad spike through his eye, stuck to the tree. We're not exactly sure how the Civil War soldier died. But the boulder guy got fucking boulder dropped on him.
Now,
yeah.
early on, when Jade first hallucinated the Civil War soldier, the guy had a lot of burn like makeup on.
It looked
It
like he
looked
had
like
some
it,
burn marks on him. Yeah.
yeah, at least on one side of his face. I didn't really see, but again, I didn't do frame by frame on that. But did we see any indication of that in that scene that the guy had burn marks on the side of his face?
When he shows up in this episode?
Yeah, yeah. When Jade was walking around, I didn't. I didn't zoom and enhance on that one.
I guess we can't see.
But yeah, that's a good question, Makito. What do you think could be worse for Tabitha? Yeah, I mean,
I think what could be
probably
worse.
burned at the stake. Yes, definitely.
Well, I burned at the stake, yes, but from what we saw from Miranda got killed by one of the monsters. So, how can, is that worse than getting killed by your fellow townsfolk? Yeah, I suppose, unless there are some more circumstances around how Miranda got killed by the monsters. Like, could it be one of those things where the town turns on both of them? The town kills Jade themselves, but then the town takes the Mirandas or the Tabithas and throws them to the monsters.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
A sacrifice, as it were. I don't know.
Yeah. Unless, and I can't exactly remember the Smiley Miranda scene, unless Miranda's not entirely dead when the man in yellow starts eating her. That might be worse.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, when it comes to the Miranda scene, all we really see is Smiley running at her and tackling her, but we don't actually see the kill. We don't actually see him. Yes, we see his face turn into the monster that he turns into, and then he runs at her, tackles her, and then the scene ends. So yeah, we don't exactly really know what happens after that. Directly after that, does the man in yellow come across her dead body and just snack on her corpse? Or yeah, does Smiley just tackle her and keep her alive? Who knows? I guess I kind of always got the sense that Smiley probably just killed her, and the man in yellow came and just ate her body afterwards. But who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
It depends on how gory they want to, how gory they want to be.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard to. It looks like it's loading, huh?
Yeah, it looks like it's low. Hold on, let me just skip this real quick. Let's stop sharing that. Stop sharing that. Hold on here. Bada bang, bada boom. But yeah, definitely in the original, he definitely had burn marks on his face, like he had been in some kind of nasty fire. And I want to say this one has it too. I do. Okay. I do want to say that, but I want to be sure too. I could be wrong.
Right. Chat. Any sleuths in the chat that did do the freeze frame, zoom in, enhance? Do you know if the
Ravener is Ravener is wondering if the Civil War soldier still has the same burns on his face as he did when he first showed up in Jade's first vision.
Yeah, the one that we see on the porch in this most recent episode. Yeah. And I mean, not that it will make a huge amount of difference anyway. I mean, obviously, and like the little boy, like the little Jade said, it's like these and many more. So there's a lot more.
Yeah, that is the question. How many more are we talking about? How many Jades and Tabithas have there been over the course of all of these centuries? And PM found an interesting interview yesterday, where David Alpay, the actor playing Jade, says this is someone that he talks about seeing Tabitha for the first time after getting his memories back, and how it's not just memories that he got back, but actual emotions. Like he actually feels love for Tabitha now. And he describes it as seeing someone that he's loved thousands of times over and over again. And I'm thinking, I mean, it can't really be thousands, right? There's no way there could have actually been thousands of Jades and Tabithas, are there? Or is that just kind of him indicating that there's been a shit ton? Not exactly 1,000, but maybe a little bit more than we thought. Maybe more than just the 8 or 9 of the dates that are represented in the lighthouse, if those even are dates.
Right. Yeah, I mean, depending on when the origin is, and if you're going to go to thousands, you'd have to.
It would have to be a little bit earlier than 1506 being the beginning of it, I would imagine. I mean, if the earliest date on the lighthouse is 1506, if that is when all of this started, then that's over 500 years of time and over 500 years worth of generations. So I have to imagine there has been quite a lot of Jades and Tabithas over the years, over the centuries, but thousands? I don't know about thousands, but maybe dozens.
But
Maybe
I think they do kind of speak, they do speak kind of like freely,
like a
the
broad
actors.
generality term. Yeah, like by him
Julie
saying,
did that too, right? Remember when Julie, when
she talks about the monster on the porch?
Well, that and saying that called him extraterrestrial when she meant like strange or like an alien threat, like she called it extraterrestrial, and that set everybody off, thinking it was that these monsters it's in space or it's it's aliens or something. But I think it was just this, it was just that the actress speaking off the cuff and using a word that meant the same thing to her. That didn't mean the same thing to everybody else.
And I think she's that actress has done similar things in other interviews. Like in season 1, when they were doing a behind the scene thing for season 1, and she's describing why the monster says what he says to her. Like, "Hey, Julie, don't you recognize me?" She described it as though the monsters take on the shape of someone they think you'll know. And I think she was maybe just misspeaking. Maybe she thought the monsters were something a little bit different than they were at that point. This was very early on when they had probably just started filming, and maybe she didn't quite know exactly what the monsters were. But the way she worded it was kind of describing it as though the monsters are deliberately taking the shape of someone that they know you'll know. And that's clearly not the case now. We know that's not the case. So yeah, I think sometimes maybe, just by accident or just by misspeaking, sometimes they'll describe things maybe a little bit differently than what is actually happening in the show. And that happens.
Yeah. Hannah Cherami. I couldn't for the life of me remember
Hannah
that.
Cherami. Yeah. Who plays yeah. But yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying in here. What is going on with you guys? Yeah, Christopher didn't kill anyone. Man in Yellow probably convinced the town Christopher was dangerous, but he wasn't. Sophia will do the same thing. 100%, Kristen. I'm with you. I was never convinced that Christopher turned evil, that turned into some evil character. I was just never convinced of that. I do think that we are going to see something similar here with Sophia, that Sophia will be the driving force behind turning the townsfolk against Jade and Tabitha, either, as you mentioned, either by trying to convince them that these two people are dangerous, or by trying to convince them that they're the reason that you were brought here in the first place. If you kill them, we'll all be able to go home, type deal. I can totally see Sophia being the driving force behind that. Absolutely. And yeah, different Jades, different time periods, so different means of death. And that's what we're seeing. Like we know all the Jades get killed by the townsfolk, but we know that they're all getting killed in vastly different manners, whether it's getting your throat cut when you're Christopher, the railroad spike through the eye, or the fucking boulder, someone dropping a big boulder on one of these Jades. That's the one I want to see. Like, if we could see any of these Jades deaths in like real time and like an actual flashback, that's the one I want to fucking see. How the hell did they manage to get this boulder on this individual?
Yeah, and where Jade found him down in the root cellar, it's like, and also the clothing of the guy is a little bit more modern, not as modern as
like
Christopher's.
20s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't look like super, super, super old. Like it was crazy, crazy old. Yeah.
Hey, Walter, go look in this cabinet real quick for us. Don't mind us lugging this enormous boulder behind you. Just check the bottom of that cabinet.
I just need you to check this out. I promise. We're just hanging this boulder right above you for aesthetics. I promise.
It's decoration.
It's a decoration. Yeah. It's not going to fall on you. Like I'd love to see how they managed to crush a Jade with a fucking boulder.
Haven't you heard? 1929 Boulder chic. It's all the rage. See?
Yeah, maybe. Good point. She went out of her way to hide Victor and Eloise. I still think she saw Eloise tortured, but they could have been initially thrown out of town before the massacre happens. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe, right? Like maybe that could be a possibility where the town kind of exiles them, throws them out. Like we don't really see what happens. All we see is Miranda leave the root cellar, And then we see Eloise leave the root cellar after them. And Victor stays down there, but we stay with Victor's POV. It's not like the camera follows Miranda and Eloise and we see where they go to. Yeah, I mean, as soon as they leave that root cellar, how do we know that they don't get grabbed up by the town trying to make it to the faraway trees? And yeah, they get thrown out into the woods and left stranded before the massacre happens. And maybe the massacre happens that night. But yeah, I just feel like there's some kind of twist coming. I feel like there's a reason why the show hasn't shown us what exactly happens to Miranda as soon as she leaves that root cellar, and by proxy, Eloise. I feel like there is a very specific reason why we haven't really learned what happened to Eloise. I have to imagine there's going to be some kind of twist coming. We see that full scene play out in its entirety, or at least I hope we get to see that. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what really went on that night? Who knows what really went on that day leading up to that night? There's still so many questions we have surrounding the 1978 massacre cycle, the massacre of the 1978 cycle, excuse me. It seems like the massacre itself took place in 1981. But the cycle started in 1978 when Victor, Miranda, and Christopher first arrived in Fromville. But yeah, still so many questions surrounding that freaking massacre. And I really am hoping that this is going to be the season where we get some more definitive answers. I'm hoping, at least. Still hoping.
Yep. Where the fans and the characters in the show get close to the same page as far as understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, and I feel like for the longest time it's kind of been the opposite, right? Like we as the audience have always known way more than the characters do. Like right now is a perfect example of that. We as the audience, we all know that Sophia is the man in yellow. We all know what Sophia is really doing in town, but all of our characters, they have no idea. They have no idea who Sophia really is yet. So yeah, I am hoping at some point our characters are going to catch up to us as the audience. Because for me, the undercover Sophia thing, it's just starting to get a little bit drawn out, a little bit too much. I just feel like I thought hopefully by now, by like midway through the season, we would have got to the point where they would have discovered her. And the next part of the Man in Yellow's phase of the next plan, the next part of the plan would have started, I guess. And again, this just might be my personal preference or my personal bias, because I really enjoy the Doug version of the Man in Yellow a lot better than the Sophia version. But I don't know. I just, the undercover Sophia thing, like it was intriguing at first, but now it's just starting to feel like it's dragging a little too long.
Yeah. And I mean, and I get it. I mean, I get what they're going for. And this has happened a lot of times. I mean, I think episode 3 that I was very harsh on, or maybe 4, they try things and sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't. But the way that the sneaky Sophia, the shifty Sophia has to operate is so subtle that it doesn't give you that splashy, exciting consequence. I mean, it is gentle manipulations in one direction or another, and so far we've seen a couple of arguments as a result, and then whatever else is happening to Sarah. But yeah, I was more happy to see Doug in the 1978 flashback with it just for a brief second with Julie. When he was sprinting, man. It wasn't the glib mocking. He was going.
Yeah, that Doug, that Man in Yellow meant fucking business. He wasn't standing around having any kind of quick kind of witty one-liners or anything. And it looked like that was the first time the Man in Yellow had ever seen Julie. Like that's the first time he's ever seen her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he meant business. He fucking charged right for her ass, and he wanted her. He dropped his fucking liver and everything. He was going right for her. But yeah, I think we need to, again, for me, the Sophia version of the Man in Yellow is just nowhere near as interesting. It's just not as interesting. It's not as intriguing. It's not as scary. So I do hope that we get some more Doug as the Man in Yellow at some point, because again, I just think they're stretching the undercover Sophia thing just a little too long.
Yeah, and I thought it would be even more interesting if she shifted more frequently. Like if she could do it more quickly, even if she had to be in a room by herself or separated or something, to take the form of somebody else. Say, the form like say she wanted to go to Colony House and she took the form of Christy, knowing that Christy's going to be
Yeah, like
busy.
was often. See, that would have been a little bit more intriguing, because at least we as the audience, they could have introduced the aspect where we as the audience didn't know who's who. That could have been very interesting. Like it's not that it's not fun with us knowing who Sophia is and they don't, but I feel like it would add an extra layer of excitement for us as the audience if we did have that aspect of knowing the Man in Yellow is in town, but not knowing who he is during any given scene. We know he's a shapeshifter. We know he can turn into anyone he wants, but we don't know who he is. Could it be Christy? Could it be this character? Could it be that character? That could be a very intriguing kind of part of the show. And that's why I'm really hoping that they discover Sophia is really Sophia. Because if the Sophia kind of cover gets blown, then the Man in Yellow either has to just kind of come out directly or turn into someone else. And if we as the audience can kind of also be wondering, okay, who's the Man in Yellow and who's not the Man in Yellow? Kind of like The Thing. And if anyone who's ever seen the classic, in my opinion, the best horror film that has ever been made in the history of histordom, The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing with Kurt Russell. In my opinion, that's the quintessential horror movie. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. And I love the aspect of seeing this group of people just turn on each other because they can't trust each other, because they don't know who's who's the monster, who's the thing, and who's still really human. It just adds this very interesting psychological element to the storytelling, where it's not just physical anymore. There's this psychological aspect to it where we need to kind of discern who exactly is, who can we trust. So I've always loved that aspect. So even though this Sophia thing went the way it did, there's still ways where they could kind of blow Sophia's cover, and then the Man in Yellow could go into kind of turning into the townsfolk. And then we as the audience just wouldn't know who is who. I feel like that could have been a little more interesting than what we got. But again, it probably is just my bias speaking, and I'm totally okay admitting that. I just haven't been a big fan of the direction of the Man in Yellow's character. And I guess that's it. Maybe I'm letting my bias get in the way of that. And I have no problem admitting that. I'm only human like everybody else. But for me, it's just not the direction I was expecting the Man in Yellow's character to go to. Like after seeing that character get introduced to us the way he did, and the Doug version with the yellow suit, the kind of comedic timing, the sadistic glee of the smile and everything. Like I feel like they had something really unique, something really kind of special there in terms of crafting a new villain that we hadn't really seen a whole lot of before. Something kind of new. I know there is nothing technically new under the sun, but there are ways to do new versions of something old. And with the Man in Yellow, I thought, okay, they got something special here. They got a very interesting and intriguing villain. And unfortunately, the look, the aesthetic of the character does have something to do with that. If you throw a character in an all fucking canary yellow suit from head to fucking toe, and you throw that character out on screen and you have him kill one of your main characters, that is going to leave an impression. That is going to leave a massive impression on the audience. And it did. Where most of us were heading into season 4, we were like, shit, we cannot fucking wait to see more of the Man in Yellow. We cannot wait to learn more about this character. And the first thing they fucking do is turn him into Sophia. Again, I just feel like it was a hugely missed opportunity to really lean into this very unique, striking image you had of a villain. Because again, imagery, iconography, symbolism, it has a lot to do with it. Aesthetic of a character has a lot to do with the character being intriguing or not. And the yellow suit fucking worked. It just worked really, really well in this context of From. So yeah, that I guess that's my explanation as to why I'm not like super excited of the direction of the character in season 4, because I wanted some more Man in Yellow, but
Right.
that's just that is just me.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine if that were the case. Imagine if we weren't entirely sure who the Man in Yellow is. We know that he shapeshifts, and we know. Imagine that they had established, even briefly, that he can take the form of anybody at any time. Then we get the scene of, even an innocuous scene like Kenny going back up to talk to Fatima. Now all this, he's apologizing to her and wanting to know more about, her connection with Smiley. you know, if we think that that might be the Man in Yellow, that takes on an entirely different tone. We're digesting and processing that dialogue in an entirely different filter than just simply, maybe Kenny's still a little bit suspicious, but he's also ultimately a good guy and wanting to know what's going on with Fatima. So yeah, I definitely feel that way. But again, we have to play the cards we're dealt, and right now I do hope, I'm hoping against hope that they do something more with Sophia, make her a little more proactive, other than just like a semi. I won't call her passive because she is actively doing it, but
it's a little too comic booky villain.
Yeah, and like, if we're not sure that she's doing, just like, as we said at the beginning of the show, like, she was there around 2 arguments. Is her presence causing the arguments? Were the arguments going to happen anyway? Other than obviously the one with Marielle and Christy, which was instigated by the shackles appearing in the ambulance and then the invisible shackles. But were Julie and Randall going to end up arguing anyway, prior to, without the influence of Sophia? And did Sophia, listening in, did she psychically egg it on to make it more intense? You got to tell us this kind of stuff. We don't know. It's cool to guess and stuff, and it's cool to speculate, but we're past the point of kind of guessing what your main villain's powers are. Just kind of show us, have it be a villain. And Sophia is not that. She's too subtle, too nuanced, and I'm past the point of nuance. You got 15 episodes left. You're in the middle of your
thing. Like, if you were setting this character up like a season or 2 ago, and you wanted to go this route in the beginning, I think that would have been a great route. But yeah, this is the end. Like, there's not a whole lot of show left. And I just feel like, they didn't maximize the potential that Doug's version of the Man in Yellow really had. Unless they're going to bring it back, unless we're going to get some more Doug as the Man in Yellow later on in the season, or maybe in season 5, like, we'll get some more Doug as the Man in Yellow. But just for me personally, I feel like it's a bit of a missed opportunity, because they could have done so many interesting things with that character, I felt. But again, this is their story. This is the story that they want to tell, and I love the show. Don't get me wrong. Anybody who's been here for more than a day, you know how much I love the show. You know how much I love these characters, and how much I love just about everything that they've done on the show. But again, it's, every once in a while there'll be a storyline or a character kind of development choice that I just don't super like, and I think everybody's like that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, man, like, shit, I wanted to see some more fucking Man in Yellow. I wanted to see some more Man in Yellow Doug. I was not expecting this Sophia thing. It's just, it's not, the character just isn't as interesting to me in the Sophia form as he was as Doug. I think, and Doug's a really good actor too. Like, that's another thing. Like, Doug, like, was acting his ass off in those scenes that he was in. And I don't know. I wanted to see more of that. I think, like, how much better could this season have been if all of those Sophia scenes were by the Man in Yellow, or at least the darker ones where you actually get to see his or her true nature.
So how do you see it? This is for you and for the chat. So how do you see this playing out? We know that. So at some point, Sophia has to get caught out. She has to get discovered.
Has to get caught at some point.
So how do you guys, both you, Jeremy, and the chat, how do you guys see it playing out? How does she get discovered? I thought it would be as simple as like a 47-person roll call, but now I'm not. Now I'm doubting that. So where they find out that they're one person extra than they should have. But we've kind of already talked about how nobody in the town has even talked about the equilibrium of
our characters aren't even paying attention to any of that. It seems. I think it seems like that's more of an audience thing that we're paying attention.
Who gets her? How does she get got?
How does she get caught? Again, I think there's a few different ways where she could get caught. Red flags being one of them. People just starting to notice that there's just something a little bit off with this person. This person just isn't reacting to this place that normal people usually do. And I think Sarah could be one of the earlier ones that could potentially, or at least I was hoping Sarah would be one of the earlier ones that would start to notice that something's maybe a little bit off with Sophia, especially that Sophia is living with Sarah now. Which is why I was very surprised to see how easily Sarah got manipulated again by these fucking voices. Like I really thought Sarah was going to be a little stronger than that. That something like someone falling into a fucking pool was enough for you to endanger the lives of everybody in town. Right. And that's what you're doing. I mean, like, she's sitting here afraid of what she's going to be passing on to these people if she does what the voices tell her in terms of taking a sip of that water, pouring it into the pitcher. She has to know deep down that if she does that, she's potentially endangering the entire town, because that is a communal water that everybody drinks from. Right. So that is less of a risk to Sarah than one person falling in a fucking pool.
Right. And somebody you care about. I mean, how much does she care about her?
Didn't make sense.
Yeah. Somebody you care about will get hurt, and how much does she care about her after a half a day as roommates or whatever? So I kind of felt that put Sarah on the shelf because I thought Sarah might have some greater insight as to what's going on. But I think now that Sophia is in her head and really secured her, it made sure that she has her hooks in her, that put Sarah on the shelf. So then who else? I know.
I don't know if that does put Sarah on the shelf. I think Sarah could ultimately be the one that kind of turns the tables on Sophia in a sense and kind of figures her out. I wouldn't be surprised if that could potentially happen. Okay. But no, other than Sarah, who could be some other characters that could start noticing some red flags? I think Marielle could be one. Marielle was already kind of looking at her, and her and Christy were kind of talking a little bit about how like she's handling all of this surprisingly well, or it just hasn't hit her yet. So they're already noticing that something's a little off with her. So they could be one of the earlier ones that noticed that she's not who she says she is. Okay. But I don't know. What about you guys? What about you guys in the chat, and you as well, Ravener? Who do you think is going to be the one that is going to figure out Sophia? Or will Sophia just out herself on her own in her own time when she feels the time is right?
Like I said, my theory the one that I'd put the most effort into or thought into, kind of, I mean, and I guess that's a good thing about theories, is you have to kind of dispel them yourself, or disqualify your own theories so you can use your brain power elsewhere. And I was still hung up on that 47, and I thought that was going to be it for sure. And I thought people were going to do the math. I thought Kenny was going to sit there and say, okay, from this time we've got plus one person, minus one person, plus two person, so therefore
yeah.
But we kind of dismissed that just by the equilibrium theory being purely in the fandom, not at all in the town. And that's what I tend to only listen to theories or create theories that are based on what we know from the show, what the show has showed us. Because if you start adding, if I started adding elements that aren't there, it's just fanfic. I may as well go on Reddit and start posting. So my theory got decimated and destroyed, so it's no longer, I don't consider it to be valid. I want to see what the chat has to say. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm back to zero. I mean, I have to think that how does any of this happen just based on any other show you've ever seen where an imposter gets discovered? They do something sus, they do something they can't possibly know. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they'll say, and I don't know. I think earlier on, PM mentioned that when Sophia arrives in town, all she mentions is the tree. She doesn't mention the crows, and that's something that it's the little stuff like that I think like that's the perfect example of the little things that she could probably get caught up on, and in her story maybe not being like super consistent with everybody else's story of how they arrived here in Fromville. Everybody sees the tree and everybody sees the crows. Yet, of course, we saw from when the preacher actually arrived in From, the crows were suspiciously absent. If you actually go back and watch that scene, there's no crows. It's only the tree, and maybe it's because the crows knew that Sophia was hunting this guy, maybe, or was about to use this person. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting how the crows aren't there in the preacher's scene when he pulls up to the tree. But that is usually one of the hallmarks of people entering Fromville. They all see the tree and they all see the crows usually. But Sophia didn't mention anything about the crows. So again, it could be little stuff like that that gets her caught up. As Xavier says, Baxter is going to say it's something not right about that girl and Sophia will kill her. Oof, interesting. Maybe. And this could be one, the man in yellow not sleeping will also be suspicious. What teenage girl isn't asleep half the day? You got a good point, BG. You do have a good point. This is true. Well, I mean, yeah, that could get very sus. Someone might catch her speaking spells. That's the only way I can think of catching her. Only way I can think catching it alone is when she's doing that mumbling thing she does. That's actually a good possibility as well, Miley. I can definitely see that. I mean, we saw how she kind of did it to Sarah, right? She's sitting up there in her room alone. She's got her eyes closed and she's whispering this kind of incantation, it almost seemed like, or whispering the words that Sarah would later hear in her head a few seconds later. So yeah, could someone actually walk in on her actually doing that, and could that give her away? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Or could someone kind of spot her from afar, when she's doing something like that? Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, Pam Jam says she doesn't get caught in the massacre.
And that's the thing, and that was the other possibility that I was saying, that she doesn't get caught. She just reveals herself on her own time, the way she wants to. Because at some point, our characters have to figure out about the man in yellow. There's no possible way where Sophia just can't get caught. I mean, there is a possible way that she reveals herself, but at some point, our characters need to figure out Sophia isn't Sophia, or the story just can't progress. At some point, we're going to get to a point in the story where our characters need to know who she is. So it can't stay like that indefinitely. At some point, Sophia is going to have to get figured out. Otherwise, you can't really set up the final confrontation between our townsfolk and the man in yellow. In order for that to happen, Sophia needs to get found out. Our townsfolk need to know exactly what they're dealing with and who they're dealing with. So yeah, she will get found out, I think, either by someone else's, either by a slip up of hers that someone else sees, or by her just kind of getting to the point where she feels she doesn't need the Sophia persona anymore and outs herself. We will see Pastor Monster. Now, that's his tooth that has been taken. Remember the tooth in Smiley's pocket. Yeah, we were all wondering what was going on with that when that first popped up way back in season 2, right after Smiley gets killed. We see the next episode, Christy is giving Smiley an autopsy. And very strange, we see Smiley's hand on the operating table kind of open, and boom, there's a human tooth, like he was holding this human tooth when he died. And yeah, a lot of us were wondering what the fuck was that all about. And now we see Sophia does the same thing. Sophia grabbed one of the teeth of the pastor. And yeah, a lot of us have wondered, is that what Sophia needs to turn into someone else? Does she need like a physical piece of their actual DNA to copy? And one thing that we have discussed in the past is, what exactly are teeth? If not identifying markers. There's a reason why killers remove teeth of their victims so they can't be identified. Teeth are notoriously an identifying marker of a person's individuality. So I think that could be a possibility where the man in yellow needs like something physical from someone in order to be able to kind of turn into them. Maybe that's why the teeth get collected.
Okay, yeah,
Don't know though.
yeah,
Either that or the men yell just like souvenirs. It's just a
yeah,
trophy.
yeah. Nice little
Could just be a
souvenir.
trophy. Yeah.
Tough to explain that one though. Yeah, you got your cigar box full of teeth. It's like, hey, just my collection.
Yeah, it's the long story. Long story. You don't want me, long story. You don't want me to bore you with it. Yeah. I don't know. We should say. But Victor should be the one to tell all of us. Yeah, I mean, Victor at least knows about the man in yellow. He at least knows that a man showed up in a yellow suit pretending to be human until he found out that he wasn't human and that he was actually something far worse. So yeah, Victor knows the man in yellow version, but I don't think Victor will be able to tell them much about the Sophia thing. Sophia is going to have to get caught on her own without Victor's help, because I don't think Victor will know about Sophia. Otherwise, he probably would have outed her already.
Yeah, maybe it does intensify. I mean, that would be. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. And she says later the townspeople are going to be at each other. Maybe Sophia is successful. Maybe the townspeople do go at each other, and that'll be a whole another threat. I always thought like having the townspeople revolt and that the threat coming from within always like kind of like distracted from the monsters, or it definitely turned the main character's focus away from fighting the monsters and towards quelling whatever dissent was happening within the town. So will they do that again though? Will they do it again at this point? Although they've damn near explicitly stated. I mean, they have explicitly stated, this is the part that I like. This is my favorite part where they tear each other apart. Yeah. I could definitely see that, Pam Jam.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that the second half of the season is finally going to get to that aspect of the show where things start getting a little bit more dire, a little bit darker. We start to see, characters start getting killed off. I want to see stuff start getting a little bit more crazy in Fromville. It seems like it's a little bit more of the same that we're getting in this first half of the season, as opposed to the kind of, I guess I was expecting a little bit of a different tone now that we are officially at the end. But again, maybe they're saving a lot of the really big stuff for the second half of the season. And I'm hoping that's going to be the case. I'm hoping this second half of the season is going to blow the first half of the season away. Not that the first half of the season was bad by any means. This episode 5 in particular was really good. It was actually the highest rated episode of From ever. Apparently.
Really? Ever?
Or at least from what I've read. I don't know how true it is. I haven't independently corroborated it, but at the very least, it is the highest rated episode of this season by a long shot.
I might be able to see that, but ever, man, those mushrooms must be hitting.
Yeah. Again, I haven't corroborated that. I only saw one statement claiming that, so I'm not sure if it's true. But I do know it is the highest rated episode of this season. That much I do know. You look at the ratings for the first 4 episodes, and they're not particularly well. They're actually some of the lowest rated episodes in the history of From when you look at the first 4 episodes of seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, okay.
Definitely some of the lower ratings that we've gotten. But episode 5 scored a pretty good rating, definitely the highest rating of season 4 so far. But I'm hoping that it's a sign. I'm hoping it's a sign that the second half of the season is going to pick things up a little bit more. And again, it's not one of those things where it's just the show's slow. I don't mind a slow burn. I actually love a slow burn. Like when someone can get a really good slow burn, that is fun to watch. That is intriguing to watch, to see things slowly develop. Focus a little bit more on the human element of some of these characters. You guys know me. I love doing that kind of thing. So for me, it's not so much that the first half of the season was slow. I guess I just didn't really like some of the writing choices at the end of the day. That's really all it was. Just certain choices in the writing I just didn't love super much. But I am liking where the show is going. I think the Jade and Boyd storyline in particular, fucking gold. I absolutely love what Jade and Boyd are doing, that they're finally teaming up together. Definitely my favorite storyline in the season this far. But yeah, I think I'm hoping anyway, the second half of season 4 is going to be a lot crazier, and we're going to start seeing some characters drop.
Yeah, and I don't know if they plan it this way. Planned having a 5 and 5 season with a week in between. I think that if they really hit 6 through 10 hard, we'll almost forget about 1 through 4 as far as like
Oh,
any
absolutely.
any
Well,
negativity.
not only
Yeah.
for, I don't think we'll forget about them, but I think we'll look back on them with more fondness, knowing, okay, this is what they were setting up. And
Mhm.
that's always the case. Like for me anyway, like whenever I get to the beginning of a season, if there's ever episodes that I maybe like a little bit less than others, I
Mhm.
find by the time the whole season is over, you go back to those episodes and you find a new appreciation for them. So yeah, I think 100% by the time this season is done and over, we'll be able to go back to the first few episodes, or at least those of us that maybe, didn't love episodes 3 and 4. I think I'm hoping that we'll be able to go back and find a new appreciation for those episodes after we see where they were going with the story. But that's all contingent on the payoff being worth it. The payoff at
Right.
the end of season 4 being worth it. So I mean, they got some pressure. I got to say that this show has some high stakes to it. There are a lot of people invested in the show, super invested, super dedicated into the show, into the storylines and these characters. So I totally understand, like that's a lot of pressure to put on a writer to get that right. I mean, I imagine they want to please as many people as they possibly can with the ending. But it's tough. I mean, it's tough,
Yeah.
especially when you have a fandom where everybody wants the show to end in a different way. And that's
Right.
natural. That's
Yeah.
how every fandom is. Very rarely will you find a fandom where everybody wants the show to end in the exact same way. That would be boring as fuck.
Right.
I'm glad that everybody has different opinions. I'm glad that we're all seeing the show through different perspectives. It makes
Right.
these discussions more fun. So yeah, I mean, I definitely don't envy the task that John Griffin has ending this show and knowing that he's going to have a mob of people on him no matter what happens, no matter how this show ends. There's
Right.
always going to be a portion of the fandom that's going to think it didn't end the way they wanted it to, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I certainly don't envy John Griffin's position. Ending this show would not be something that I would look forward to doing.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by killing off more than. I mean, we know we want 1 person or more to die. They should start killing off people, and that'll do 2 things. It'll also, I mean, it'll give us, some characters' deaths to deal with and emphasize the threat of the bad guy. Plus, it'll prune out some of these characters because that is the huge burden, I think, for the writers, is having to at least give some screen time to all these different character pairings, all these
Mhm.
different people, and push them along. Some of them, again, I keep going back to, like Fatima, like Marielle, like even Elgin. I mean, when did these guys get to the end of the road? When did these guys get to the end? I thought Fatima was at the end of the road after she had given birth to Smiley. So,
Mhm.
and I thought, well, okay, they can prune her out, and that's and again, we got 15 more episodes. That's 15 hours of essentially of content, 15 sets of 47 minutes at least of content of runway for them to land everything perfectly. But yeah, the time is if it's not now, it's got to be damn soon, where you got to start printing out these characters. Then you could double down on advancing the characters that you do want to care about, that you do want us to care about, and
Mhm.
and build them up for a good dramatic death in season 5. Yeah, I just I mean, sadly enough, Henry, we've talked about it, enough, I guess. But yeah, Henry's got to go. He's too good. He's too. I mean, they've done enough to make him a beloved character that it will hurt somewhat
Yeah.
to see him die,
Narrative
and then also see Victor's response to him dying.
reaction.
It's,
And
it'll be a double.
narratively, he's kind of served his purpose. Like when you look at the purpose that Henry served narratively in the story, it was for Tabitha to see the basements down in the the paintings down in the basement. That was Henry's function on the show, to help Tabitha get her memories back. It was just, we just got a bonus in the reunion between Henry and Victor. Like that was a great bonus scene, but
Mhm.
narratively, the function that Henry's character served in the narrative was the Tabitha part, the part for Tabitha to see those paintings, and that would be a part that helps her get her memory back. I think that's why the Boy in White sent her there in the first place, so she could meet Henry and see those paintings. But yeah, then we got a really great scene of Henry having that reunion with Victor. I know a lot of people really want to see a similar scene between Victor, Henry, and Eloise, if Eloise is still alive out there somewhere. But yeah, I think Henry is a little bit past his expiration date, and I could totally see him getting killed off. Speaking of other characters that we may or may not see again, characters that may or may have not outlived their usefulness, I believe somebody in the chat earlier was talking about the kimono creature and asking, will we ever see the kimono creature again? And that's a really good question. I'm actually wondering that too. I mean, is it even necessary to see the kimono creature again? If her purpose on the show, if her narrative purpose was just to facilitate the birth of Smiley, then technically we don't really need to see the kimono creature again because she's fulfilled her purpose in the story. But if she has some other purpose on top of that we have yet to see, then yeah, maybe we will see her again. But let me know what you guys think in the chat, and you as well, Ravener. Do you think we have seen the last of Kimono Creature? Was she only here to be a supernatural midwife, or will we learn a little bit more?
Yeah, I think that would be, if I had to make a bet right now, I would say, yeah, she's done. She's finished. She did what she had to do. She's not a monster, so she won't be there for like a monster roll call or even the mob scene where they're pushing Jade, even in visions or anything else. So that would be my guess. Just very, very simple. And I'll throw it off to the chat. I'm very interested to see if they have another way that she would be around or another use for her. But I think you're exactly right. She was a one-off. She was just for that purpose of being the midwife. And all the manipulations. I mean, and she did, she did all the stuff to Elgin, and established herself to the point where he thought she was an angel. She did all that stuff in service of that one plot point. And then now what? I mean, what could they possibly do? It won't, not to say that the writers can't think of something for her to do. Obviously, they thought of something additional for Fatima to do after she served her. Because, I mean, Fatima's purpose was served once she had Smiley. I'm not buying into this Gollum thing, or I couldn't care less. I'm interested to see what they do and how they do it now that it's already done. I keep saying it, I'm playing the hands I'm dealt. But I don't really care one way or the other. It's interesting to see what they're going to do with her. But anyway, yeah, to the point, because I know when we're talking, we'll flip from thing to thing, and I always go on tangents. Plus, we're like 6 seconds ahead of the chat. So what does the chat think about the kimono lady?
Yeah, will we see the kimono creature again? Let us know what you guys think. Has the kimono creature served her purpose already, or will we see her again? Yeah, one-trick pony. Maybe the kimono creature is just a one-trick pony. Maybe. I wonder if our characters win. I wonder if our characters win, we may see all the monsters and at the end see that kimono creature lady again and see them all disappear or die off, sort of like Dusk Till Dawn when they all burnt up. I mean, again, that is going to be a very interesting kind of part of the show, right? Like if some of our characters do make it out, if this story does end with them completing the quest, saving the children, and some of them actually do make it out, then yeah, what exactly is going to happen to all of the other supernatural creatures that are stuck in this place? Are they just all going to be trapped here alone? Or are they all going to kind of go away as well? I thought that one little statement that we heard from the From creators in that interview they did before the season started was very indicative as to how From might end, where the creator or the showrunner of the show, Jeff Pickner, stated, excuse me, let me back up. The interviewer that was interviewing them asked, when the show is all over, when the show is all said and done, will you leave the set open for people to visit, like a tourist attraction? And the creator of the show, Jeff Pickner, said, well, that's up to Canada. And that's assuming that Fromville will even still be standing by the time the show is over. And I thought that was very interesting that the creator of the show would put something like that out there in the ether. the possibility that this whole Fromville plane of existence might not even be standing by the time the show ends. So yeah, that does make me wonder what exactly is going to happen to all of these other supernatural creatures if our characters do escape. Are they just going to be trapped here? Or if Fromville itself gets destroyed, do they get destroyed along with it? A lot of questions as to how this whole thing's going to wrap up and what's going to happen with the rest of these creatures. And yeah, who she was. That's another big question as well. Who exactly was this kimono creature? Has she always been this weird, ghastly entity that she is? Or was the kimono creature actually a human at one point and something terrible happened to her that turned her into this? Or is she just another nightmare that was birthed out into the forest? I'm starting to wonder if all of the supernatural things that we've seen on the show are all just previous nightmares of previous residents. Maybe that is the true origin of everything that we've seen. I don't know. I guess we'll find out what happens to the rest of all of these weird creatures when and if our characters do make it out.
Right. Are they part of the fabric of the world itself? And
Exactly.
or
Like if Fromville gets destroyed, do they get destroyed with it? Type thing. Or do they
get free?
Or do they get freed? Or if Fromville doesn't get destroyed on their way out, do they just remain trapped there for all eternity? And no more humans are getting pulled in because the Ankui children aren't pulling people in anymore because they were saved.
Yes, I'm trying to remember the theory that I read it was like the children the children were when what is it that the monsters became the monsters because the Ankui children when they were like the nightmare of the Ankui children, like when the Ankui children died.
I could totally see that being the case, that when the Ankui children died, the monsters turned into the parents turned into these monsters because that was their nightmare. Like one of their nightmares were
their most trusted people, their most trusted family, their parents, their most trusted adults possible.
Yes.
Becoming an evil thing. Yeah.
But maybe these monsters, maybe they specifically turned into these monsters because maybe these were creatures that the parents would tell these kids about. Maybe this was like a legend that this was many, many centuries ago. So maybe these creatures were told to these children as stories at one point, and they developed a fear of these creatures. So yeah, when they get killed by their own parents, maybe that is the Ankui children's fear being manifested in that way, where the parents get turned into these monsters. I think that's an interesting theory. Yeah, I haven't heard that one before. So yeah, wherever you heard that, that's a new one. I've not heard that one yet.
And it was. I know I'm butchering it, and I don't remember it well enough even to give credit. I think I don't even know where I had even heard of it. It also kind of makes me think that maybe the monsters didn't always have. And we had talked about this seasons back, how it was weird that they all had the 1950s clothing, but not only 1950s clothing, but kind of stereotypical clothing, like a nurse, like a milkman, like a cowboy, but not a cowboy like an actual cowboy that works on the range, like a TV cowboy.
Yeah.
Like a cowboy,
and
like
that,
a little.
And that was his name, TV star, TV star cowboy or something like that. Like that was like that character's like official name. I need to go back and check the credits again, but I remember I believe it was something like TV star was like the name of the official name of like that character or something.
Oh yeah, I remember. Hey, you're right. He had
something like that, right? Yeah, something along those lines.
Like Bronze Star. Yeah, I know exactly.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. I think.
But it was something like a child's perception of what like the typical jobs would be, and that kind of makes me think maybe the 1950s version is the most that might have been, and I think I can't remember how we related it, but that might have been how Victor saw, or even if not Victor, his sister, when she died, it might have been. That's why they all have 1950s dress, because the stuff that you would see on TV, like when I was a kid, when I was a Ute, I would see stuff. We'd still see Andy Griffith, we'd still see old like stuff from the 1950s, reference on TV and stuff like that. So it wasn't uncommon to see something like a milkman, even though I don't think even in my lifetime, there was, I mean, I don't even know if milkmen were even a thing, but the milkman outfit, the costume was still, very, it was super relatable because it was a part of the common culture, just like the Will Rogers kind of cowboy versus like an actual like Young Guns kind of cowboy. So that's how a little kid would see it. That might be Eloise, that might be Eloise's incarnation of it. Maybe the monsters prior to, and that might be why we get a colonial monster, because the monsters prior to 1978 might have had a different set of clothing. They might have appeared to the townsfolk in
Well,
a different outfit.
they must have. I feel like they had to have. Now that we know that these monsters are literally centuries old, then yeah, I mean that they must have just been changing their clothing over the decades, upgrading it as they go. Maybe that's why they take these souvenirs from humans, from their victims. Maybe that because we saw they had clothes down there. Like Henry freaks out when he's down in the caves because he sees Miranda's sweater that it has been taken down there. So yeah, I think given now that we know that these monsters are centuries old, clearly these 1950s clothing wasn't around centuries ago. So yeah, I think they must just change their clothes every few decades or something.
Yep. So yeah,
that's the only explanation I could think of. And this is an interesting one as well, as Mick Light 1018 for $2 brings up as well. And again, until we recently got this confirmation of these nightmares being manifested in this place, I hadn't considered a lot of different possibilities that I am definitely considering a lot more now. And this is one of them that I am definitely considering as well. Could the man in yellow himself have been some kind of nightmare that was brought to life? Again, a lot of us are assuming, or a lot of us are thinking anyway, that the show is kind of pointing in the direction that the man in yellow might be the original entity, the one that brought this deal to the children, the one that brought this deal to the parents in the first place. And if that's the case, then that would mean, no, he's probably not just a nightmare that was conjured in this place. But we don't know. We don't know for sure that the man in yellow was the one who brought this deal to the parents. And I think Fatima having this mental block there where she remembers everything that she saw when she tapped into Smiley's mind, yet the one thing she can't remember is who or what exactly brought this deal to the parents. But she said it was something horrible. Again, a lot of us are assuming or thinking it's going to be the man in yellow. I think sometimes the simplest answer is usually the correct one when it comes to From. So the man in yellow is the most likely option. But again, there's always a possibility that there was something else, that some other kind of being or creature brought this deal to the parents. And that's why the writers wrote that part in for Fatima, to have Fatima specifically not remember that part, because it's going to be a big reveal when she does remember it. And we're going to see that it wasn't the man in yellow. I feel like that's a possibility. But then again, when you look at a lot of the stuff that's happening here on the show and you see how a lot of it is seemingly all getting tied back to the man in yellow, you start to wonder, okay, maybe the man in yellow really was behind this original deal. But if not, this is also a very interesting theory, Mick Light. If the man in yellow wasn't the one who brought the deal to the parents, then yeah, I could totally see him maybe being like a nightmare that actually came to life in this place from a previous cycle when someone died. I feel like everything we're seeing in Fromville can now fall under that category. The monsters, the cicadas, everything we're seeing in Fromville can now fall under the category of this is someone's nightmare from a previous cycle.
Yeah. Could you imagine Doug in a pilgrim hat and placing judgment on placing judgment on the town or whatever? Totally. I'd like to see that scene. Yeah. Totally. I mean, yeah, like
absolutely. Totally.
I don't know. I can't remember, like Cotton Mather or some of those old timey. I can't remember the names of some of these old guys.
Cotton Mather. Yeah.
No. Oh yeah, that's up in your neck of the woods. You probably know these guys.
And I'm no expert. I'm no expert. I'm no expert. Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none is how I kind of like to think of it. But yeah, no, I think that could be an interesting possibility, Nick Light, that maybe the man in yellow wasn't the original entity who brought this deal to the parents. Maybe the man in yellow was also somebody's nightmare that was manifested in this place. Definitely a possibility. And thank you so much for the 2. Very, very much appreciate it. I owe you fucking glitter bomb. Glitter bomb, glitter bomb. Thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciate it. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. Let us know, what are you guys thinking about From? What have you guys liked about season 4 up until this point? What have you guys disliked? What are some of your theories heading forward? We want to hear from y'all. The monsters change clothes just like the town, adds new updated buildings like the diner. I mean, it seems like that could be the case, right, Robert? And I do agree with you. I think that could very well be it, because like you were saying earlier, Ravener, all of these buildings, much like the monsters' clothing itself, none of it can be really traced back to just like one time period. It's scattered all throughout. We see buildings that look pretty modern, and then we see some buildings that look centuries old. Whether it's the stone ones, Cautry's Church, Colony House, some of these buildings are clearly way older than some of the newer, more modern ones. So yeah, it could be one of those things where Fromville is, quote unquote, adding new things, I guess you could say, just as the monsters are also upgrading their clothing from century to century or decade to decade, it seems. But yeah, again, we know that they've been around for centuries. We know that they are far older than the 1950s, yet they're all dressed in 1950s clothing. So yeah, I think it's sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. Again, and they change their clothes. It's that simple. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a more definitive answer at some point.
Yeah, it'd be a good opportunity for the wardrobe department to go ham and just have people popping up in every different kind of era. Even in a flashback or a vision, they could do.
Yeah, maybe. If the original parents changed into monsters, somehow Jade and Tabitha escape that curse and keep coming back as humans. How did that work? And that is another question that they definitely need to answer a little more definitively. But the only thing that I keep thinking of is it seems like Jade and Tabitha, or at least the original Jade and Tabitha, didn't go through with the sacrifice in the last minute. It seems like they tried to stop it, because we hear they tried to save the children and failed. So for me, I think the original Jade and the original Tabitha, at first they were in on the sacrifice. I think they were in on it like the rest of the town. Otherwise, how else would they have gotten one of their children? Literally their children is one of the ones that got sacrificed. So I wouldn't be surprised if the original Jade and the original Tabitha were in on it at the beginning. But after enough time passed, after spending time with these children, singing them lullabies and stuff like that, because we hear that from Jade at the end of season 3, we used to sing them lullabies. So it seems like maybe Jade and Tabitha spent a lot of time with these children over the course of however long, waiting for the sacrifice to take place maybe. And eventually maybe they just got to a point where they developed too much of an attachment with these children and they couldn't go through with the sacrifice. So they tried to stop it in the last minute, but failed. Maybe that could explain why they didn't get cursed like the rest of the town and turned into monsters, but instead are getting reincarnated and brought back over and over and over again to try and fix what they couldn't fix the first time around.
Yeah, that sounds, until we hear anything different, that makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah.
Maybe.
Until they tell us something different. Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, like you said, they definitely need to explain that, right? They need to explain how come Jade and Tabitha are getting reincarnated when the rest of them got turned into monsters. And again, that's kind of the only thing, not the only thing, but that's always the first thing that pops into my mind. Maybe they got spared the monster fate because they tried to save the children, even though they failed. But yeah, who knows? We definitely need a more definitive answer for sure. It's a fun theory, but need some more definitive answers. The cicadas and dolls are projections. The buildings are also probably random people's projections, and that's a possibility as well. If nightmares can get manifested here when people die, what else can get pulled out of people's minds? Mm-hmm. Could things other than nightmares get pulled out of their minds here? Again, we just really don't know how it all works. So until we do know, yeah, I suppose anything's possible for sure.
Right. And when there's a cyclical massacres that eliminate either everybody or everybody except one person, in Victor's case, the town can remanifest itself however however it wants, essentially.
Yeah,
because nobody would be there to cross check, Hey,
exactly.
wait a minute, this thing
you're not
wasn't
gonna have
there
anybody
before.
fact checking you, like, hey, that building ain't right. And again, maybe that could explain how we saw the building get just completely destroyed, the Matthews family home. It seemed like something just out of the sky decided to point right to that fucking house, and that house only, destroyed the fuck out of it, while everything else around it was left fine. Hell, the diner is right near the house, and the diner was left completely untouched. Only that house was targeted. And maybe it's something similar like that. Maybe that's why we see all these ruins all over the place in Fromville, that these buildings get destroyed to make rooms for new ones. And could that even be an explanation as to why the hotel building isn't there anymore, but the pool is? Yeah, it seems like something has a very kind of masterly level control over this place, where they can destroy a single building whenever they want and leave everything else around it untouched. Now, is that the man in yellow controlling that? Or is that just Fromville itself? Is this place alive? Is this place sentient in and of itself? Or again, is all of this being controlled by the man in yellow? That's something we need to know more definitively.
Yep. We still need to know. We still need to know the full extent of his powers, because we don't. We know a few things, and we know things that are being hinted at or insinuated or gently displayed, subtly displayed. Like we going back to earlier in this show. Is Sophia's mere presence causing dissent, or is she just amplifying existing dissent, or is she directly causing it, or is it a little of this and a little of that? Who knows? We need to know. And again, that's the thing. There's just still so much that we don't know. Even though we are starting to get some answers here and there, there's still way more that we don't know than we do know up until this point. So I'm hoping that the second half of the season is going to kind of crack some of these things open a little bit more, and not only give us some more answers, but I'm really hoping the second half of the season is going to show us those answers and not just tell us. That has been one thing that we've been getting a little bit of. It seems like a lot of the answers we're getting them kind of like spoon-fed to us, in terms of it's all exposition dumps instead of actually like showing us flashbacks, showing us what really happened. And we talked a little bit about this on our previous stream, but just from a storytelling standpoint, for me, the best form of storytelling is showing people, show the audience, don't tell them. If you can do something in a way where you deliver information to an audience where they can see it, as opposed to just delivering an exposition dump, it's always going to be more enjoyable for the audience to see these things unfold, as opposed to hearing about them unfold. So I guess that's one thing I'm hoping that we're going to get a little bit more of in the second half of season 4. When we do continue to get more answers, please show us these answers. Don't just tell us through exposition. Right. Like Fatima, have a vision and then explain to everybody what it's all about. And it's stuff that we never would have gotten otherwise, if it hadn't been for Fatima's exposition dump. Hopefully they don't go to that well too many times. They can get away with it once or twice. There's a lot in the show, especially this last episode. I don't know. I didn't, even if it wasn't, incredible and awesome, I was just like, well, what are you going to do? I'm kind of reconciled to what we've got at this point, and because the
oh yeah, me too. Yeah,
the monsters looked a little dopey, and it's like, well, what you gonna do? They tried. An effort was made. But you don't really want to go through another season and a half of they tried hard here. I want to be blown out of my socks and just gobsmacked and stunned and all the words for that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like I do not mind a slow burn. I have no problem with shows taking their time, setting up things that will pay off later. But this is the later. Like, we're at the later now. This is when these things should start to pay off. And I'm hoping that they're going to, and they are. They're all right. They already are starting to pay off. We're getting some answers. Again, episode 5 was a big revelation in many different areas for a lot of things that we had been theorizing on for a very long time. So episode 5 did give us a lot of answers. But again, it was a lot of answers through exposition dumps, not through actually showing us. So I guess that's what I'm looking forward to seeing in the second half of the season. Are they going to show us the answers? Or are they going to continue to just kind of spoon feed them to us? Because it's just not as fun getting spoon fed answers as it is to discovering them ourselves through flashbacks and actual scenes.
Do you think the person who put the Kool-Aid Man in the trailer has gotten a tongue lashing?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
Imagine if we hadn't already known. Yeah,
if they hadn't, they should have.
Yeah, if we hadn't have seen that already and knew that it was coming, how much better would that scene have been? At least
so much better. Yeah. And not only that scene, like everything leading up to it would have been so much better too, because the way that the previous episode ends with freaking stupid NPC Roger just grabbing that fucking rope and yanking on it like it's his little pecker and not even knowing what's on the other end of it. We see something kind of bubble to the surface. That would have been such a good cliffhanger if we didn't already know what exactly was coming to the surface. Like as soon as we saw that scene, it's like, shit, that's kind of cool, but we already know what's there. We already know what's coming out of the lake because they showed us in the trailer. So yeah, I think not only would that episode and that scene have been way better, but the lead up into it, even that would have been a lot better. Like showing us that scarecrow scene in the trailer, that was a huge mistake.
Yeah. I think, I mean, at least from this point on, I think we've seen everything that there is to see in the trailers. Now we'll get the per episode trailer, which we can watch or not watch, but I hope they don't do a second half trailer. And I know they want to put scary stuff or splashy stuff to make it look like it's not just a bunch of people talking. You want to put your best foot forward in your trailer to encourage people to watch the show. But I think we're almost past that point now too. You know,
you don't need, again, where From is right now heading into the 4th season. The show is super freaking popular. They are definitely at the point right now where they don't need to throw crazy shit in their trailers to draw a crowd. Like there already is a massive fan base for the show. So yeah, I think they very much are at the point now where they don't need to throw crazy stuff in their trailers to build hype. The hype is going to get built no matter what. You don't have to show us a whole lot. Let us be surprised. Let us find out this stuff on our own when we're actually watching the episode. I can't for the life of me figure out why that got through, how somebody at MGM didn't see that trailer and think, wait a minute, maybe we should hold off on this scarecrow thing. This is kind of like a big new thing that we're introducing into the show. Maybe we should let the audience discover this on their own. I can't believe that made it through, that nobody saw that and questioned
it. Right.
It just, I don't know, just crazy. But then again, MGM has kind of been known for things like this in terms of putting out kind of trailers and promotional images that have been a little bit more on the spoilery side. They've kind of been doing this for a while, and maybe it is. Maybe they do feel like this is the only way they can create hype for their show. And in the beginning, maybe that was the case. But that's not the case anymore. Like this show is firmly established. This show has a massive, dedicated fan base that is so loyal to the show and watches every little thing that you guys put out about it. So yeah, I think you're very much at the point now where you don't need to throw a bunch of spoilery stuff in your trailers to make them exciting. You don't need to. It's unnecessary, and it creates a less fun viewing experience for most of us that would have loved to watch that episode not knowing that was coming. Because you're right, Ravener. I mean, like when we got to that episode, it's like, okay, I'm kind of excited to see how it's going to play out, but just the very fact that we already knew it was coming takes away from that moment. That would have been such a massive jump scare that none of us saw coming, that none of us were expecting in that right moment. That would have been so big. That would have been so interesting. It would have made that whole episode, that whole story arc so much better. And I know we've talked about this numerous times, but it really does make a huge freaking difference. Like what you put in your trailers does matter. And I was I'm very surprised that nobody at MGM saw that and said, "Wait a minute, let's get this out of here."
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is that there was enough stuff. You can always show reaction scenes. They did it pretty well with the run up to Tien Chen. You know, they showed Boyd's reaction to what was happening, but there was still a huge question about who it was that was having stuff done to them. And that one was actually done fairly well. I mean, there was a lot of speculation, but there certainly wasn't certainty as to what was happening, because they were showing Boyd's reaction to what was happening. They probably, and I can't identify a specific scene in the Scarecrow sequence that they could have shown people's reactions without spoiling that it was the Scarecrows, but you certainly could have shown, people could have seen, okay, what would we have derived from that? Okay, they're out of the cabins. Okay, it's Donna and X number of other people, and something is scaring the shit out of them. They could have found a clip or a second or a second and a half of that sequence that that could have gotten that across without showing the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And as Xavier said, the Unkui kids had it coming. They did something.
Maybe, someone was just saying that a minute ago, that maybe the Unkui children are the real evil ones, and they had to get sacrificed because they were evil. That's the big twist that's coming. But yeah, it's just I don't know, kind of funny. But yes, the cart was a perfect example. Quan, abso-fucking-lutely, that was the perfect example of throwing something super interesting in a trailer that we know is going to be a big part of it, yet we don't exactly know who is in it and what is going to happen. That's the perfect kind of example of what to throw in a trailer and what not to throw in a trailer. Just my opinion. I know everybody has their differing opinions on trailers, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I think just based on a lot of the comments that we've been getting, which have been vast, a lot of people have been feeling similarly in terms of, like, that episode in particular would have been so much better if they didn't show us that in the trailer. And of course it would have been. I mean, how could it not have been? Obviously, seeing that ahead of time, there's no way the episode was ever going to be as good as it would have been. And that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, and it would have been going back to the jump scares, back to the roots of being a horror show with jump scares to get your adrenaline going for a second. Somebody, assuming that somebody's going to die, then we'd be talking about who is it going to be, who's going to be the one, and we did to an extent, but yeah, it wouldn't. Right now we'd be talking about, oh my God, I thought for sure Donna was dead. Oh my God, I thought, and. But again, what can you do? What can you do?
Yeah. But no, I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with having some constructive criticism for a show that we love. Like, we love From. Anybody who's been here for more than a week knows how much we love and have championed this show as much as anyone. And I can't wait to see where the second half of season 4 goes. I think it's going to be really fun. But yeah, they definitely, some things could have been handled a little bit better.
And yeah, we're pretty lenient. I mean, we'll rake them over the coals when they need it, but they need it sometimes. They can't get away. They can't get away with everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not every idea is a 10 out of 10. I'm, sorry guys.
No.
Sorry. Yeah.
Not every idea is going to. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, if anyone ever tells you need to like every aspect of a show, that's an asshole. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think the rest of it's going to be very, very interesting. Very, again, I'm hoping that the second half of the season is going to be a little bit darker, a little bit more intense. We're hopefully going to see the stakes get raised a little bit more. Because I was very surprised that we didn't lose a single character in the first 5 episodes, or at least not a single meaningful character anyway. I know we lost NPC Roger. But yeah, I think the second half of the season looks like it's going to be pretty interesting based on where episode 5 ended. I'm loving the stuff we're getting from Jade and Boyd. I feel like the Jade Boyd team up has been probably the best part of season 4 so far. While the Man in Yellow turning into Sophia was probably the worst part of season 4, just for me personally so far.
I'd throw
that's one thing I want to ask.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd throw
that's
the
just
golem.
one thing. Yeah, troll's gonna troll. Boot to boot to boot. Yeah, but that is one thing I did want to ask you, Ravener, and everybody else in the chat as well. So far with season 4, I know we're only at the halfway mark, so it's hard to kind of gauge the whole thing as a whole. But so far, where we are right now, this point, halfway through season 4, what is your favorite storyline and what is your least favorite storyline so far? Ravener, tell me.
Okay, well, I would say my favorite, honestly, is how they're handling Henry, because between the actor and the lines that they're giving him, they could easily come off as way too saccharine, way too on the nose as far as making him a sympathetic character or a beloved character, but they're really handling Henry really, really well, and the actor is handling the role extremely well. I always look for the sour notes that hit, when a character just doesn't quite do it. That guy's been pretty fantastic. Plot line I don't care about is the Golem and Fatima. It's like, of all the things that you could do, why make a giant thing out of mud on the 3rd floor of the building? I always think about
like
stuff
this.
like that.
Yeah, this isn't going to go wrong at all. This is certainly not going to go wrong.
Yeah, why don't you make a small one? Make one that fits in a shoebox
build a
first.
monster inside Monsterville. Yeah, that nothing's going to fucking go wrong there. And not just any monster. Let's build a golem of Hebrew mythology that are specifically known for breaking free of the control of their creators and running a fucking muck. Yeah, that's not going to go wrong at all. Great decision, Fatima. Great. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. If it even wakes up at all. Again, I'm still not even convinced that this golem's gonna even come to life. It certainly could, but
but somebody's gonna have to clear out 400 pounds of fucking mud from the 3rd floor colony out.
It's gonna end bad for sure. Who wrapped the scarecrow dolls in weeds and put them at the end of the rope? The dude who threw out the dolls out there was just tossed them. And I think that was just regular seaweed. I think that was just, regular seaweed that just got pulled in. Where the rope came from is the interesting part. How did these dolls get attached to the rope is the more interesting part for me, because like you said, that guy just chucked them. Looks like he just kind of chucked them into the fucking lake. Again, a little bit weird how they're all of a sudden tied on the other end of a rope. Definitely not something that was explained, but I clocked that too. Definitely clocked that. As long as there are breathing humans, there will be creepers. Absolutely. Well, I was going to say, as long as there are people inside Fromville, there are always going to be new nightmares to farm as well. Now that we do have that definitive confirmation that people's nightmares do get manifested here in the forest when they die, as long as there are people getting brought into Fromville and dying in Fromville, there's going to be a constant stream of nightmares just coming and going. And I guess the question is, how long do these nightmares last? If someone's nightmare gets manifested in this place, does it just take on a life of its own and it's just its own creature from that point forward? Is there a shelf life on these nightmares? Still some questions we don't have, but at least we are finally getting some kind of definitive answer that people's nightmares can get manifested in this place, and they can hurt you. They can very much hurt you.
We only saw briefly the cicadas a little bit in season 3, right? When they came out of Randall.
Randall was still seeing the cicadas a little bit, like during the bus scenes and stuff. Like that's how he ends up getting kind of caught by the monsters there. He's running back to the bus and the cicadas start flying all near him, and then he kind of falls in the street, and then he gets surrounded. We haven't seen him this season so far, but Randall was still seeing the cicadas in season 3.
Oh, he got somebody. I can't find it. I see the response to it, but I don't see it. People liking the Julie storyline. Okay, Ramses.
I am too. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like, if this was the NBA, I think Julie would have won Most Improved Player of the Year. I'm a huge NBA fan, so I'll always kind of make those kind of analogies. But yes, if there's one storyline that improved the most from season 3 to 4, it's definitely Julie's. Like I'm really enjoying Julie's storyline this season. I think it's been super interesting. I think her and Randall are a really good team. This kind of brother sister kind of relationship that they have going. I think it's been fun. And not only that, Julie's actually actively making progress at trying to find answers. She's actually doing something productive. She's trying things. She's coming up with theories. She's testing them out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. Julie and Randall have been killing it this season.
Yeah.
I'm loving what they're doing with their storylines.
Yeah. Well, she shook off the petulant teenager routine and she's been acting the shit out of it for her scenes in this season. So I'm super digging it. That was a good catch by the chat for sure.
Yeah, it's been 100% agree with each and every one of you. Really enjoying the Randall and Julie storyline this season. It's been one of the better ones for sure. Absolutely. We've gotten some of the best scenes from Julie and Randall's scenes. Like some of the best scenes we've gotten this season have been Julie and Randall scenes. Good stuff.
And she still acts like a teenager too. Not like a petulant, mad at the world kind of thing.
And I love how, Randall is very much kind of settling into that big brother role where he's like, like the little argument that they have in episode 5 that Sophia kind of overhears. That quintessential kind of, big brother looking out for the little sister kind of role. Mm-hmm. I think they did something pretty good with Julie and Randall's storyline. Turning Julie into a story walker really kind of elevated her character. Whereas before she was a story walker, she didn't really have much of an impact on the plot overall. She was very much a minor character. Now she's one of the mains. Now she's one of the more important characters on the show.
And I was super skeptical of that too. Super skeptical because there's so many opportunities for that to fall off fall off the path.
There still are. Whenever you introduce time travel into a story that isn't originally built on time travel, that can get messy if you don't do it right.
Yeah. So far, man. I agree with the chat on that one. Definitely a good dynamic for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with this real cinema therapy. I believe you mentioned this earlier as well, Ravener. I agree. I love Henry and Victor's storyline. The actors are amazing. The storyline I don't care for is the man in yellow becoming Sophia. It just doesn't work for me. I am so with you, real cinema therapy. I am so with you. Again, like just seeing the man in yellow get introduced to us the way that he was introduced to us at the end of season 3, Doug's version, this striking new villain with, the yellow suit, the flamboyance, the sadistic smile, everything about that character was just so intriguing. When season 3 ended, everybody was talking about the man in yellow. That was the one conversation that everybody was talking about. Like we learned a lot. Like the end of season 3 gave us a big exposition dump through Fatima where we learned quite a lot of answers, plus all the stuff we learned about Jade and Tabitha and the reincarnations. Yet the one thing on everybody's mind at the end of season 3 was the man in yellow. It made the biggest impression on us out of everything we got in the finale. So heading into season 4, I could not wait. I was so looking forward. I'm like, okay, Doug's finally going to have a whole season to play this character instead of just one 40-second scene. Now he's going to get a whole fucking season of playing the man in yellow. We're going to get into the kind of nitty gritty of this character, peel back the layers, find out who he really is. And then, then we got this. Then we got the man in yellow turning into Sophia. And I'm with you, real cinema therapy. It does not work for me. I feel like it was a huge, huge missed opportunity to capitalize on something that doesn't come around too often these days. And that's a very interesting and unique villain. That is just not something that we get a whole lot of these days, unless it's a villain that has already been established, whether you're doing an adaptation of a book or a comic or anything. But to just come up with a brand spanking new original villain is not easy nowadays. But they did. I feel like they really managed to. I thought the Man in Yellow was such a unique villain. And it was a little disappointing to see him just turn into Sophia at the beginning of the season. Very disappointing that we didn't get some more Doug of the Man in Yellow. I don't know. Just not working for me as well. I'm with you. Not working for me. But I love Henry and Victor as well. I mean, just probably two of the best actors on the entire show, Robert Joy and Scott McCord. They're just so fucking good. So,
yep, I agree on that one.
but
we
yeah,
got
man.
mushrooms on Widow's Bay too. We got a double dose of shrooms this
We
week.
do, yeah. I tried to watch Widow's Bay. I was watching it while I was editing, so I missed a lot of it. I need to go back and like really watch the new episode of Widow's Bay. But I do remember seeing that. I remember seeing, I'm like, oh, this is a pretty weird coincidence how both of the shows that we're watching have our main characters fucking eating mushrooms and tripping fucking balls. That was a little bit of a weird coincidence. Like, what are the odds that Jade's going to be tripping at the same time as Tom fucking Loftus? So that was kind of funny. Very, very weird coincidence how that lined up like that.
Yeah. It was a good episode. I wouldn't say it was the best. I still think last week's episode was the best.
Last week's was great, man.
Patricia's sunset cocktails.
Yes.
But it did move things on a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, episode 4 was definitely the best episode so far. That reveal that we get at the end of episode 4, that was a reveal. That's how you do a fucking good reveal right there. But another show that I'm actually really enjoying that we'll probably start talking a little bit more about on towards the end of some of our From streams is The Terror, Devil in Silver. Episode 3 has just come out today. I have not seen episode 3 yet. I'm going to try and go watch it after the stream actually. But if you guys haven't seen The Terror, Devil in Silver, I would highly recommend that one to From fans. If you're a From fan that maybe didn't like Widow's Bay, you might have a better chance of liking Devil in Silver. It's a little closer into the From realm than Widow's Bay is. Widow's Bay is a little bit more in the comedy kind of realm with the supernatural and horror aspects to it. But The Terror, Devil in Silver is just all supernatural and psychological horror. It is so fun so far. It's set in this insane asylum that it seems to be plagued by this kind of supernatural force. And it's really good. And it's really, really fun. A really good cast of characters. There's a lot of intriguing things going on there. Some interesting mysteries. But it's been fun. Again, I'm only 2 episodes in, and I am already hooked on The Terror, Devil in Silver. If you guys have not seen it, I would definitely recommend checking that one out. It is on AMC and Shudder TV, or you can always sail the high seas. But yeah, The Terror season 1 was phenomenal. The second season wasn't as good. And what's great about The Terror is they're all anthology seasons. It's like American Horror Story. Every season is a completely different story with new actors, new cast, new everything. Season 1 was fucking phenomenal. I loved season 1 of The Terror. So good. Season 2, I didn't really love it so much personally. I thought season 2 was nowhere near as good as season 1. But season 3 definitely feels like a return to form. It feels almost as good as season 1 did. Like, I'm really enjoying season 3 so far. But yeah, we got some interesting stuff to look forward to over these next few weeks. Now, again, I know we don't have a new episode of From coming this Sunday or this Saturday. Unfortunately, the show is taking a 1-week break off. But we will probably, maybe we'll set up I was talking about this yesterday, but maybe we'll set up some kind of watch party this Saturday where we would usually stream the new episode. Maybe we'll do a watch party and we'll go back and rewatch the pilot episode, the first episode of the first season all over again. Now that we have some new information, now that we have all of this new data that we've gotten from season 4, I imagine if we go back to the very beginning, we might be able to pick up on some things that we maybe didn't have context to look for the first time around. So maybe this Saturday, even though we're not getting a new episode, maybe we'll do a watch party of, we'll rewatch the pilot episode or do a rewatch of episode 5, maybe one of the two, or both even. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm thinking we'll do something along the lines of that this Saturday, since we can't look forward to a new episode, we can at least look forward to some of our old episodes and kill some time doing an encore watch party.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it could be fun. But yeah, man, here we are. Episode 6 is, a little ways away. This is usually the time where I would say episode 6 is just around the corner. But it's not. It's not just around the corner. It's just around the corner and another week away, I guess you could say. But I'm looking forward to it. I am hoping that this second half of the season is going to be a little bit darker than the first half. I'm hoping stakes are going to get raised a little bit higher. Things are going to start having some more consequences. We're going to start seeing some characters hopefully get killed off. And I'm hoping that the season's going to end with a bang. And again, I know that we got a lot of stuff in the trailers, a lot of stuff in the trailers that a lot of us hoped, maybe wished weren't in the trailers. But one thing that is good about heading into the second half of the season is it's going to be, for the most part, pretty much all new material. I know there is that one TV spot trailer that has a few scenes in it that we haven't seen yet. And I imagine probably most of those scenes are probably going to be right in episode 6. So it seems like most of what we're getting from here on out is going to be all new footage that we haven't seen in any of the trailers. So that's going to be pretty fun, not knowing what's coming around the corner.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking for 6 to 10 to be a miniature season in itself, with all the punches and all the excitement all packed into the back half. So that's what
I'm hoping. I'm hoping that's how it's going to go.
Otherwise, they'll hear about it. They will hear about it.
Otherwise, you'll be hearing from my lawyer. But yeah, no. I'm enjoying season 4 so far. I think episode 5 was a bit of a return to form from standards, where it felt like From again. It felt like, okay, we're back in From, really good, because I didn't really get that feeling from episodes 3 and 4. Like it just didn't feel From to me. But episode 5 did. It felt like it was a return to form, and it felt like they were setting up some pretty interesting things to take place over the course of the next few episodes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I know it's definitely sad that we have to wait, forever for a new episode. They might have, and I have heard a lot of people echo that sentiment, that since we have to wait an extra week in between 5 and 6, a lot of people were hoping that we would get 6 and 7 at the same time. And I get it. I hope they don't do that personally, just from a YouTube standpoint and from a discussion standpoint. I love watching just one episode a week. It's just a lot easier to dissect and to kind of cover. But no, I get it. I totally get it, my friend. Totally fucking get it. After having to wait an extra week, I totally understand wanting to get an extra episode. Definitely.
And ironically, Widow's Bay is doing that next week. They're dropping 6 and 7, but they're not taking a week off. They're just giving us 2 episodes for no apparent reason on the 27th.
Yeah, very true. And yes, I am very much looking forward to this. Again, that was another one of those few scenes that were in one of those trailers that we haven't seen in any of the episodes yet. And yeah, that one very interesting scene of what appears to be Tabitha almost experiencing Jim's death in some kind of flashback or some kind of vision or something. That's actually in my episode 6 trailer breakdown video that I'm working on right now, and I will have that up on the channel tomorrow. I have a very interesting episode 6 trailer breakdown and predictions video that I'm working on, and that will be up tomorrow. So definitely keep an eye out for that, guys, and check it out once it is up on the channel. But yeah, we got a little ways to go. Again, unfortunately, no new episode this Saturday. We are taking a 1 week break, or MGM is taking a one week break due to the holiday. But episode 6 will be back on the 31st, and we will be right here doing our live pregame show, our live watch party, and our live after show as soon as the episode arrives. But
the watch parties are going incredibly well. We literally max out our capacity, man.
Yeah, they've been going great. The watch parties have been going fucking awesome, and that is thanks to you, my friend. So yeah,
just thanks to the chat. I could not, because you're pulling close to 500, 450, 500.
Yeah, we've been getting some great numbers.
To get a third of that in the humble watch party, I am tickled pink, pleased as punch, and it's all due to the chat. And we're getting people from around the globe, people that won't be able to see it for another day or two, or another much later or whatever, and then they're able to jump right back into your after show breakdowns and know what's going on because of seeing it. So man, it's gonna be awesome. I won't lie, it'll be nice to have a week off, but it'll be nice to be right back into episode 6 on the 31st.
It will. I think it'll be. And again, it's at the end of the day, the series / 3 episodes also lives longer by having to wait a week. It's a lot of time to talk and create more theories together. And exactly, it's just an extra week that we get to spend with From at the end of the day. So yeah, it's not the end of the world.
I saw Dahl mention he was from Denmark, correct? I think he said Denmark.
I believe so. But yeah, there we have it, folks. We are officially at the midway point of season 4. We are halfway done. Hard to believe that we're already halfway done with season 4. But yeah, I am really hoping that this second half of the season is going to pick things up a little bit faster. We're going to see things get hopefully a little bit darker, a little bit more dangerous for our characters. Hopefully the situation starts to get a little bit more dire, and we're going to start to see these characters really get put through the ringer. At least that's what I'm hoping. That's what I was expecting from this season, for this season to be the darkest season that they've ever had. And it still very well could be. So I'm looking forward to seeing the second half of season 4 and seeing what they have in store for us. But there we have it, folks. There we have it from season 4. Episode 5 is in the books. Now we look ahead towards episode 6 and beyond. And again, I will have my episode 6 trailer breakdown and predictions video up on the channel tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And then, this Saturday, I know we don't have a new episode coming on, unfortunately, but we'll at least be doing some kind of watch party, whether it's rewatching the pilot episode or rewatching the latest episode, episode 5. We'll be doing something like that this Saturday, some kind of filled spectacular.
Let me post that Discord link in there for all the watch party needs. Yeah, but you'll definitely want that in there. I'll just put a quick eyes and fire. There you go. So anybody who wants to do those watch parties, definitely check it out. I got a Widow's Bait, just one episode catch up tomorrow on Friday, but definitely check out Saturday. I'm anxious to see what you have planned, Jeremy. Is it going to be season 1, episode 1?
I'm thinking we're either going to do the pilot, go back and rewatch the pilot episode.
Okay.
Or
maybe
to hear
the story of the puppets.
I mean, we could always do that. I even break out the deleted script or the scenes that were deleted from the original script when it comes to that little puppet fight. There are some deleted scenes from it. But
Norman is dead.
Fucking Norman. Who the fuck is Norman? Who is Norman? Who are the fairies? Where is the Lake of Tears? Will we learn any of this, or is all of this just in a child's mind that is trying to cope with the loss of his father? That, I guess, is the question. Is the Lake of Tears actually real, or is this just a figment of Ethan's imagination? I don't know. But yeah, very much looking forward to seeing where episode 6 is going to go. I am also very much looking forward to the upcoming film that is going to be coming out called The Backrooms. And anyone who's been here, you guys know that we've been talking a little bit about The Backrooms since it first started kind of, becoming a film. Kane Parsons, the YouTuber that was actually behind the original YouTube series, The Backrooms, actually is the one that is directing the feature film for A24, and the kid's only 20 fucking years old, which is so impressive. This 20-year-old kid getting this job of a lifetime, working with some of the best actors I've ever seen, like Chitwell. He's one of the best actors in the fucking world. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what The Backrooms is going to be like. Again, I think Kane Parsons captured a very interesting, super creepy aesthetic with his kind of homemade version of The Backrooms. Anybody who has not checked out the lore behind The Backrooms, if you're a From fan, I would say check it out, because it is some very creepy and trippy stuff when it starts diving into the liminal spaces of The Backrooms. But if you guys want to check that out, I would say check out the YouTube channel called Kane Pixels, and you'll see all of his Backrooms footage. It's all right there on his channel. And that is ultimately the inspiration for the movie that we're getting, The Backrooms, being directed by that very same kid. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to be doing some kind of breakdown on The Backrooms when the film does come out, because, again, it's a film I've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. It looks really fucking good. It looks really creepy, really scary. And it's just something new. It's a new form of existential horror, these liminal spaces and these quote unquote backrooms. Really, really fun. Yeah, Backrooms is going to be fucking awesome, right? It shit looks good, man. The Backrooms looks fucking good. I cannot wait to see The Backrooms. And yeah, we will definitely be discussing it here on the channel, 100%. So any of you who have not seen the trailer for The Backrooms, get out there after the stream ends, which will be in 1 second here. Get out there, check out the trailer for The Backrooms, and you'll be able to see pretty quickly whether or not it's something that you'd be into. but I do think it's something From fans would probably like. It's pretty trippy, pretty trippy. But there you have it, folks. That is going to do it for us tonight on this fine Thursday evening for the Fromville Hour. You can catch us again this weekend. We'll be doing some kind of encore watch party to kill some time while we wait for the new episode of From to eventually come back around next week. But until next time, stay safe out there, ladies and gents. Keep those tinfoil hats on, folks, and we will see you on the next one. Cheers.
Okay, ding dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Ice and Fire, you're gonna spend the night in the box.
Aren't Cooey